Welcome to episode 38 of Let's Be Friends podcast. I am with my friend Misti Mazurka. She's a smasher of idols. She's a master at shifting her viewpoint. She's a searcher for truth over beliefs and deception. She's a psychic and she's a former ascension guide, and I love her so much. Thank you for being here, Misti.
Thank you, Kara. I love you.
I love you too. We became friends divinely, honestly, divinely. I'm just gonna let you tell everybody. How did you remember the message you sent me? Go ahead,
I,
jump in.
I do. So in February, when you were on my Maria's podcast, normally I listen to podcasts in like bits and pieces. I couldn't stop listening to that one. And so as soon as I finished it, I reached out to you on Instagram and just sent a message, just, saying that I listened to the podcast and I
But
feel
this
bonded.
isn't
And
it, Missy. This isn't the divine story, though. It's the dream that you had. You're
oh
so
my God.
humble.
Well, this was later. That was later.
I know. Okay, so you found me from Maria. I love Maria, and
Yes.
so many amazing people found me. Thank you, Maria. And Maria's coming back on the podcast soon. But you sent me a message, a DM after we had connected, and
Hmm.
you were like, "You were in my dream last night, Kara." And I was like, "Tell me more. Tell everybody about." So, like, I showed up in your dream.
Yes. So you showed up in my dream. We'd connected. I think this was probably 2 months after we connected. It was one of those really clear, vivid dreams where you feel like you're physically. I felt like I was physically there. I could smell all of the smells of the environment. I could see all the colors and feel the energy of all the people there. And it was in a town square. And it was a bunch of people together, like for an art festival. And you and I were sitting at this picnic table together. And everybody's showing their art, and I have this portfolio, and I was too embarrassed to show it to you because all my stuff was in black and white, and yours were the most vibrant colors, like the most colors that don't exist in the realm that we live in here on earth. They were otherworldly, and so I was too embarrassed to show you my art, and you kept saying, no, just show me, like you were going to open my eyes so that I could see the colors that you saw. And we were waiting for Conrad. Conrad was coming on to do a stand-up comedy act. And the funny thing is that I had just started following Conrad. I had no idea that he was into stand-up comedy. And you two had not met yet.
Never.
But no, you guys, because I sat on it for a couple of days, and then I finally sent you a message, and I'm like, I have to send Conrad a message too. These two have to connect. But the weird thing is that like all of us were there. We were light workers in this spot together at this time, waiting for something, like holding down, I don't want to say that grid, but holding the energy tight. And the weirdest thing was that the next day, somebody had posted the video about Elizabeth April and how that night she had gotten this army together where they went to this vortex portal in Siberia and they were fighting the dark energies coming out. And I'd never heard of Elizabeth April at that point either. So the fact that that all happened, but it was, I,
Wow.
we weren't supposed to be with her. We were supposed to be
Whoa,
holding
I
tight.
just have like chills right now.
Yeah, so just the synchronicity of it all was pretty wild.
Whoa. Yeah, it's so wild because I had never even heard of Conrad. When you mentioned this in the message, I was like, well, I just went and messaged him because I was like, this is too crazy that she's because you and I had connected because we'd been messaging each other since you found me on Maria. And then I had been kind of doing like connecting with Elizabeth April stuff because, I had this whole experience with interdimensional beings and there was like nobody else out there to talk to them about. But the color thing is so crazy because I remember that point in time. If so you guys scroll back on my Instagram, I guess this would have been like February, March, around then.
Probably would have been the dream was probably April,
Okay. Oh my God, I'm
I'm
hearing things in my
thinking.
head. Okay. This was right after I know, and I know you'll understand. Like, Misty and I really connect because I feel like we both really hear voice of spirit in our minds and we share like thoughts that kind of come in and throw at each other. Well, I remember I had just had my session with Shaman Durek, a shamanic healing session, which really opened me up. And right after that, I started creating art, back to the Instagram. on my Instagram of colors I had never seen before. Like
That's
I got
so
received an activation definitely after my session with him. I'm just like timelining this in my head. And like all of a sudden I started just creating, playing on Photoshop and creating gradients, my own color gradients. And so if you look on my page around anybody around like end of February, March 2021, that's what we're talking about. And then you have this dream where I'm showing you colors. And I'm also in this real life experiencing that. And then you tell me to connect with Conrad. So I had never heard of this guy. I figured he was just a comedian. And you're like, no, he's a podcast. So I contacted him, and then he has me on his podcast. He's like one of my best friends now. And now you and I have just been connecting even more lately because you and I have been going through a little bit of a shift together. We've
oh,
been riding a wave, haven't we?
we have. It's been pretty wild. It's been really wild. I can't even describe. Like I
Yeah.
keep having friends message me saying, I see the things that you're posting on Instagram and what is going on. And I honestly, like, I can't even explain it. Like,
Yeah.
I just
No.
can't.
Yeah. I mean, so we met online. This is why I have like these internet connections that we're making with friends. This is like I'm
Yeah.
just saying whatever past lives are. This is past life shit. Like this is other dimensional stuff. Like we are, like but like this, I've talked a lot to everybody knows they've been watching. If you've been following this podcast from the beginning, you've watched me shift and change because I've been waking up and I've been moving through different thoughts and paradigms and concepts and all sorts of things like and this spring I found myself in a place where I was knee deep in the new age, which to me means like really into aliens and moon rituals and manifesting and being one and I don't know all this stuff. Not new age music. New age music sucks. Totally sucks. But Kenny G was the first concert I ever went to. Anyways, new age
Serious.
music sucks. Yeah, but I just had to say that real quick because I was getting a little serious. And then I'm such a clown. I'm such a clown.
I love
Past
it.
lives,
I
I had
love that.
plenty of past lives as a fucking court jester or like that person.
I'm
Like I
sure.
swear. No, I know this. It's funny. I'm not that interesting, guys. I was a circus performer, a flamethrower, and now anyways, still doing the same things. So I'm in the knee deep in the new age, and I start questioning what's going on because I had no idea people question this stuff. And I do believe in when you wake up, it's very easy to get netted kind of in the new age magic because magic is real and new agers
Yeah.
love to practice magic. Do
Oh,
you want
yeah.
to talk about, so we were both kind of finding ourselves, you talk about how you found the new age real quick.
I kind of was dipping my toe in it for probably about 20 years now. I first like discovered yoga back in 2001 and started practicing it and not really knowing the roots of it or anything like that, not knowing what I was doing. And I would find myself gravitating towards yoga and then gravitating out of it. And so it was just kind of like an ebb and flow in my life. And
Dun,
then
dun, dun,
uh,
yoga and ebb and flow. Ah, yeah, I know.
goodbye.
Effortless. Girl, you make it look effortless. Add comedian to your title now.
See,
Punner.
I didn't even catch it.
But you're really right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was candid.
Oh, the
So
whole
where
thing is candid.
I
My
love
life,
it.
one big candid Kara.
I love it. So where I really started to fall down the pit of New Age was in 2016 or 17, um, via Oprah. So Oprah had this panel of guests. My mom was like a total avid, like big time fan of Oprah. She recorded all of her shows, and I never really cared about it. But
I did
she,
Weight Watchers multiple times and it never worked. But yeah.
yeah,
Anyways, yeah.
I,
Oprah's a
of course I did it.
scam.
It's
Her
not
Weight
supposed to
Watchers
work.
doesn't even work. No, I don't think it is, and it starves you. And
No,
anyways.
it makes you crazy.
Yep.
So my mom invited me over, and she's like, "You have to watch this Oprah." And it was this panel of all of these new age teachers and healers and whatnot. And they were talking about this book that was coming out called The Secret. And The
Ah!
Secret was all about manifesting. And this is really where I felt like I have never heard of the law of attraction before The Secret. And it had been out. This is not some it was not a new thing. Like there's nothing new under the sun. It's just things that are remarketed, relabeled, remarketed to grab the attention of a new market share.
Yep.
So that's what
How
The Secret
convenient too
was.
that we all die out, at a certain time they get a whole new
And
fresh run of people. Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna go there today.
The Lost Generation. That's like the name
Yep.
for Okay. We're reading each
Yeah,
other's
so
minds. Okay.
totally.
We totally just said something really telepathic, and that's not. We gotta like not do that too much while we're chatting, since
Like nobody's gonna get what we're
I
talking
know.
about.
Sorry,
We
everyone.
got to let them in on the joke.
This is a great opportunity to practice tuning into our telepathy here, if you want. If you
Yeah,
get serious on that.
for sure. So yeah, so The Secret, I was obsessed with it. I went out and bought the book. I took notes all through the book. I mean, the book looked ridiculous. I had all of these little tabs all
What is this?
over it.
What's the secret? I don't know
So
about.
the
I've never read this book.
Okay, so The
I missed
Secret.
a couple bullets. I missed the QAnon bullet, and I missed the secret bullet.
Good. Then you have less reprogramming that you have to do. So
I just hit the misery one real hard. The
no,
self-misery. Aw, I'm okay.
it's part of your path.
Yeah. Kind of okay. Today I'm okay.
You're great. You're
I
amazing.
love you. I love you.
I love you.
I love you more.
No, there's no way. It's impossible.
I love you. Aww. Okay. So The Secret.
Okay, everybody's puking at this point.
I know, right?
Okay.
They're like, disconnect. Yeah, right.
I'm here for this.
My friends wouldn't do that, and we're all friends here on Let's Be Friends.
Of course. Okay, so The Secret was written by this Australian lady named Rhonda Byrne, and it was co-written with a bunch of New Age teachers. I don't even remember. There's probably like a dozen different New Age teachers teaching you how.
Way more than a dozen New Age teachers.
Well, in this book,
I know. There's tons of New Age shit. It's a new thing. New Age, New Rage.
And it's not new. New Age is not new. So it just teaches you how to do the law of attraction, like how to believe and receive. Is that how it goes? There's 3 steps to it. Anyways, so essentially you focus on something that you want to draw into your life and you start visualizing it. And once you get into the same frequency of that thing that you want to draw into you, it's like a tractor beam, in sci-fi, where you draw it to you and it just manifests into your life. And I thought, well, that's super fascinating. So like probably a week after I fell into the secret phenomena, well, first off, let me tell you why they call it The Secret.
It won't be a secret anymore, though.
Exactly.
No, I know.
Well, and it's not, and that's
so
this is
lie.
part of the deception.
So it's a lie. Because once they tell you it's not a secret, it should be called the lie.
The big fat lie. And then would we all run out there and gravitate towards it? Okay, so they called it The Secret because allegedly this is hidden knowledge. That it was written in like the emerald tablets. Yep, exactly. So
the Eye of Horus, that was pretty cool, actually. Anybody who's not watching the video, I just did a pyramid triangle in front of one of my eyes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it's been this big secret that's been hidden from civilization. Only the most elite know this secret, and it's been hidden across the ages. And this is a power that every human has within them. They've always had it. It's just been buried, and we've forgotten about it. So this group of New Age teachers was now going to reintroduce it. Like,
Thank God
not going to be a
we have
secret.
these teachers that discovered this secret.
Right.
Where would we be? Where would we be?
Exactly. But this is such a good point, because if it was such a powerful tool, it would not be. If this was a New York Times bestseller, this book, The Secret. Okay. So as soon as you walk into a Barnes and Noble, it's right there front and center.
It's no
the first
secret.
thing that you see.
No secret.
It's no secret.
It's no secret.
There are, and just the fact that they marketed it that way, then that just grabs your attention, because we have such a thirst and a hunger to know what we don't know and know what's forbidden to us.
Yeah, I want to know the secret stuff, of course.
Yeah. So the absurdity of the whole thing, now that I look at it, is if this was a big secret that mankind, that your very basic everyday person was not supposed to know, it would not be allowed to be published, and it would not be allowed to be a bestseller or a New York Times bestseller. It just wouldn't.
Bam! She's done her first crushing. And when
Did
you
it.
said that, I literally was thinking about how I believe that all celebrities, same thing. Anybody with a new age teacher with a big name, anybody out there with a big name, probably a lot of these people in history with big names, they don't allow, triangles back up with one eye, they don't allow just anybody to prosper. Like this Demi Lovato thing, like that's coming out. You mentioned Elizabeth April. I'm just gonna go ahead and crush a second here. A little idol here, guys. I had to question Elizabeth April when she went on Demi Lovato's show, because why would you go on a mainstream show that millions of people are watching if you're not joining that club? I just don't believe they give you a jacket and let you on the show unless you fucking join the club. So
You have to earn it.
yeah. Yeah,
And you
they
don't.
don't promote anybody. There's no coincidences. There's no
I'm,
celebrities, you guys. Okay, someone out there is asking a question right now in their head. But what about this celebrity that I really like? No, they're all
no,
in on it.
no.
Eyes on the Right. Go to Eyes on the Right. Watch her stuff. Watch her stories for a week. You will learn the symbolism, and life's gonna suck after that, because you're just gonna have to. You'll have no movies to watch, no music to watch. Anyway.
Well, here you could still watch the movies. It's just you're going to watch
Yeah.
it for a different reason.
Yeah.
You're going to
You
catch
don't
it
enjoy them
all.
anymore.
Yeah. So you just pick up on all the symbolism
When
and
the
all of the
Sanderson
messages.
sisters on Hocus Pocus are sucking the life force energy out of that child, you question that. Anybody who's seen Hocus Pocus by Disney, there's a little thread on my stories right now. They suck the life force energy out of a little girl, and then they're younger. Okay, adrenochrome, come on.
Yeah. It's
New age.
everywhere.
It's
It's
everywhere.
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
But think about Disney for a second. I mean, think about is that
Fanta-
Phantasma? Is that the name of
Fantasia, which I
Fantasia? Is that
watched
what
a
it's called?
lot as a kid. Yeah, the Mickey as the wizard, and he's dancing around, and it's instrumental.
Yeah. Every kid. That was every kid's favorite. And what
Yeah.
are they doing? They're teaching witchcraft. They're teaching sorcery.
Yeah, watch the shadows of Mickey, you guys. Okay, so you're learning about you got deep into the New Age a long time ago, and you were even
Yeah.
really working in this, doing like Cassie, who came on. She talked about how she had worked in the New Age for 5 years, and then all of a sudden started learning there was deception in it. Well, I just kind of woke up, in 2020, and found myself, in a group of friends that were New Agey, because it's in the New Age is magic, and magic is real. It's real.
Yeah.
It's a real
It
thing,
is.
guys. Magic is real. I've experienced it on so many different levels. It's real. And you want to learn this knowledge that Misty's talking about, this secret. And
This
so,
secret hidden knowledge
yeah,
that you're not allowed to
yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. But you want to learn it. So both of us this spring, to kind of fast forward to our little like meeting story, I start connecting with you more randomly because I actually had questioned Elizabeth April, who I loved so much. I was loving her, but then all of a sudden she goes on. Demi Lovato, by the way, you guys, she has altars. She has multiple altars. She's been MK Ultra. She's done the Monarch training. She's gone to rehab many times. They don't go to rehab. They go to they reprogram their minds. Her hair's gone blonde like they do. She's she's been bipolar. Well, there you go. For me, I don't believe in these conditions. Bipolar just means that you're gifted, that you're sensitive. And she's also now a they, thee, them, the pronoun pushing that agenda. Guarantee she's going to come out non-binary if she hasn't already. And maybe even will change her gender. I don't know. I'm just saying. And now she's all about aliens and has a podcast called The 4D. I am just saying, if you don't see enough red alert buttons with Demi Lovato, like, please just find them and see. There's there. It's obvious. And now Elizabeth April connects with her. And I'm like, shit, I don't think I can jive or hang with Elizabeth April anymore because something doesn't feel right. So I messaged Misty.
Well, and my first response is
to you. Yeah, I don't know why I went to you, but I did because I didn't know what to. I just was like, did you see? Because
Well, yeah, because we've chatted about her before and shared some of her posts. But here's the thing that kind of triggered me with her. Well, there's a lot of things, but the very first thing about the Demi Lovato is that it's called the fourth dimension or 4D, and I'm pretty sure I've heard Elizabeth April say that nobody should mess around with the fourth dimension. There's nothing good there.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Okay.
I know. That was. I remember that too. And that was and I'm not. And I love Elizabeth April. She's wonderful, you guys. I'm not just totally. I don't mean to sound like I'm dogging on her at all. She's a wonderful. I don't even know her. I'm just talking about. her as an example right now of someone who's very new agey, and now all of a sudden, and I was very deep into her stuff because I feel very connected with the Galactic Federation and the Orion Council of Light. I've talked about that, and because of experiences I had before I even had connected with April's knowledge. So that was just my own thing. But then, you're looking, this is the point. You're looking for guides and you find these people. Is it a feel good? Is it a shaman Durek? Is it I don't know these ascension guide coaches names, but there's something. Okay. So I just started questioning everything and I messaged Misty and we start chatting and all of a sudden we're sharing voice memos like all the time. And I'm like, you need to call
All
the
day.
podcast all day, all the time. And I'm in Austin. She's in California. And so I was like, let's do a podcast. So here we are. We're ready to crush everyone's idols. Misty has been doing research on the new age, where it came from, because we're all doing yoga and playing with crystals and doing rituals. And we don't know the fucking real history, guys. Maybe you do. Maybe whoever you're listening right now and you really do. And that's awesome. And honestly, I love that.
But do they know the real history?
All right.
They may know history, but is it the real non-manipulated history? Probably not.
Let's go, girl. Rev up your engine. Go.
So you want to know how I started slipping down the slope away from the new age or questioning things is, okay, so I kept hearing people refer to Manly P. Hall, who was a new age writer that was really big in the 1920s. Well, he first hit the scene in the 1920s. And I would hear people refer to him all the time. And I thought, I got to get my hands on one of his books. So I spent a couple of months looking for his book called The Secret Teaching of All Ages, which, I mean, just that title, I have goosebumps just saying the title.
You sent me this title only 3 weeks ago or maybe 2 weeks. I mean, This is recent. Yeah, keep going.
Very recent. I've been considering buying this book since probably July. And I keep putting it off because the original publication was from 1928. There were only 1,500 copies that were printed and distributed. And you had to be on a waiting list to get one of these original copies. Like, it was a big deal. And so there are other versions of the book, but there's a lot of things that obviously have been omitted from the book. And I can't stand that. Like, what are they hiding from us, kind of thing. So I kept putting off buying this book.
Age. We just want to know it all.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the interesting thing. Finally, probably about 6 weeks ago, I decide I've heard way too many people talk about this book. I have to have this book. So this is the final time I put the name of the book and the author into my search engine. And for whatever reason, a whole new list of search results pop up. And the very first thing takes me to the CIA.gov website.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Dude,
why is this book?
Yeah, the shit that they see, it's just, right in your face.
Why is this book? Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, well, awesome. I don't have to buy the book because I could just download it from the CIA. And now the CIA knows that I'm reading this book.
I know, right?
Yeah, they know everything.
Yeah,
so here's
free.
So I had to know, why the hell is this on their website? So I went digging, and it turns out that this was part of sorry,
no
part
worries.
of part of a catalog from the office of Osama bin Laden.
What?
Yeah. So when his compound was taken and he was assassinated, quote,
right.
then our troops had got into his compound and they started cataloging everything he had. So in his office, he had a bookcase with all these books on it. And then he had a bunch of books and files and documents on his desk. And so since that got cataloged by the CIA, at some point they had to disclose that. So this book, this Manly P. Hall book, this Secret Teaching of All Ages,
another secret,
was on his bookshelf. Yeah.
Another
and I'm
secret. Did you think about that? I just thought about that. I was like, we were talking about the secret, and now it's the secret teachings.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key word, because it entices us.
Dude,
that you're going to let us.
I hashtag something with secret today, and I never do. I just thought of that, and I did it because I was like, that the same thing you just said, enticing.
Yeah. So it really grabs your attention. Like, this is the forbidden fruit. It's the forbidden fruit from the tree of
Ooh,
knowledge that we're not supposed to
supposed to
have.
have.
And that's a programming. It's programmed in us. Hey, you want to know a secret? Hell yeah, I
Yeah,
want to
I
know a secret.
do. Tell me right
Tell me all.
now.
I'm terrible at keeping secrets, but I'll listen to the secrets all day
No,
long.
noted that you're terrible at
Yes.
keeping it. Now I'm gonna remember that.
Well, I'm getting
When you're
better.
writing out, you're
I'm
writing
getting
up.
better at
Yeah.
it.
So, okay, so you learn. So, this book. What exactly do you discover in this book?
Well, okay, so the tagline of this book is that basically it's an encyclopedia for all things Gnostic, um, Freemasons, symbolism, Rosicrucian, like basically all of the secret societies that we're not supposed to know, that we're not privileged enough to be a part of. This is an 800-page encyclopedia of all of the information you could possibly want to know about. I mean, obviously, it's not going to tell you everything about Freemasonry, but it turns out that this guy, Manly P. Hall, his mom was a Rosicrucian.
What is a
And
Rosicrucian?
I want to say, I
Is
should
that
have looked it up.
religion? Is it a religion or something?
No,
Okay.
it is a secret society, and I think
Okay,
they
that's enough
are.
right there. Just a secret
Yeah,
society. That gives me enough.
I think they're tied in maybe
Yeah.
with Freemasonry. So, and then Manly P. Hall eventually in his 50s became a Freemason. So, I mean, that just tells me the things that I need to know. You're not
Yeah,
going to
there's
have
certain
someone
things like if I see somebody they've been promoted by Oprah, I'm like done, over with you. That's just
precisely.
that you learn your yeah. This is enough right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oprah's not my friend. She's not your friend.
No.
Anyone that she is friends with, what does
Yeah.
it take to be a friend with Oprah?
Yep, exactly. That's the same thing. They don't let you in. This is why I question anybody who's associated with these celebrities and that gets promoted and gets a primetime spot and gets their music played on the radio and all of that. Like that's why I'm self-publishing my book. I'm
Oh,
at least
it's the only way to go.
yeah. Nobody's gonna censor me or nobody can buy me. So you learn about this book, and then I remember you telling me about it, and and we had been talking about like past lives because I remember that was one of the first things I said to you too. I was like, I don't know, what's going on with past lives? Like, what is this? And then I learned that even the Bible does talk about past lives, and I barely know the Bible. I've been talking about it a lot lately, but I definitely feel as though like that is one kind of point of view. I just think that's one, like we said, same old story under the sun. It's been rewritten so many different ways. Um, but it's full of some amazing knowledge for sure. And one of the things it does talk about is how I think Elijah comes back as John the Baptist.
Yeah, there's a lot of interpretations of the scripture that lead people to come to that conclusion. I've not read that, so that I'm not there. I'm not at that point in the Bible yet.
I just jump all around. I just whatever
Yeah,
comes to me. I'm like all over the place. But
yeah, because was Elijah the one that was taken away in the chariot of fire to the heavens? I believe.
I don't know. See, I
Well,
don't
did you
even know
know?
that.
Did you know there? Okay, so there are two people in the Bible that didn't die; they were taken by God. So Enoch is the other one.
Right. I'm glad you're bringing up
Right.
Enoch because this kind of ties into some of this. Actually, we have it on the list here. We've been keeping a list of what to talk about on this episode for a while. And Book of Enoch and Metatron. Let's talk about that. Like,
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead.
So
What'd you find out, girl?
okay, to circle back to the Manly P. Hall book. Okay, so the way that the CIA got a digital copy of this book is that there's a gentleman that had been working on a website called sacredtext.com. And what he did was he actually made manuscripts of all these sacred books throughout history, and he has them for free. Yeah, he has them for free on their website. So that's how the CIA was able to easily get a digital copy of this Manly P. Hall book and have it available for people to download. So I don't even know why I didn't think about it until last night that I went on that website and I just put in Enoch, and there's a digital copy of the Book of Enoch there. So I started reading it last night. And there's also a couple of books from our friend Helena Blavatsky on there, but we'll get to that.
We're gonna get to her for sure.
We can't
and
forget
Alice
about
Bailey
her.
and Alistair and group meditation and veganism and UFOs. I just looked at like a
There's
couple random things on the list. Yeah.
there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah, this conversation.
So if we're losing the listeners at talking about the Bible, we're gonna drop some breadcrumbs so that
Yeah,
we
well, the
don't
Book
lose
of
you.
Enoch, for anybody who doesn't know, and I don't know a ton about it, what I know about the Book of Enoch, and I feel like I'm like a good, like, I'm like a kindergartner learning everything because I just feel like I feel like I'm 1 year old. Like I just woke up in 2020, you know, like,
And that's
boom,
what's
like,
so fun about you, because you have this childlike wonder, and it's so much fun.
thank you. Like one time when I hopped on floats live the first time, which is how he and I met, I just like requested to be on his live, and because I just been on I fucking astral projected onto what I felt was a light ship, so I needed to talk to someone about it. I didn't have anyone to talk to, and I was like, somehow I'd found flow, and I was like, I come on and I'm all excited. And he's like, his response, he's just like deadpan looking at me as I'm like, and then I blasted on the ship and blah 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 blah, blah, blah. And he's just deadpan, and he's like, yeah, I remember when I used to be excited about these things. And that's kind of like, this is that energy. Love you, float. But yeah, like, so what I know about Enoch is, there were a couple young, like, sheep herders who threw rocks, and one went into a cave, and it knocked a vase apart, an antique vase that must have been an artifact, and inside were like the Dead Sea Scrolls, or I don't know, some things in the Book of Enoch. So
Okay. Yeah.
randomly they found this, and in the Book of Enoch is about the Nephilim, who are the fallen
Mm-hmm.
angels who've come to Earth, and they fall in love with the women here, because of course,
Because we're so
and
hot.
obviously, and then they have these babies with them that are half Nephilim, half babes, human babes, and basically like this like mixed hybrid race is created, and then like, I don't know, I sort of think this is like kind of leads to occult magic and idol worship and all this shit kind of
It
happening
does.
here, and then God
Yeah.
has to flood anyway. So yeah, the Book of Enoch,
Yeah,
and Metatron
exactly.
might be Enoch, the angel that channeled this or didn't die, like you say. And I know I want to say one last thing, and then I'm going to hand the mic to you for a second. Is I had been connecting with Metatron when I learned about New Age stuff. I had been told to connect to Metatron to access the cosmic grid, which is the Akashic records better. And I started doing that, and I had already accessed the Akashic records on psychedelics. Like, this is just like it's a thing, you guys. It is. Magic's real. Magic's real. But once I connected to Metatron, I got there better. I'm just saying, I started connecting strong. So this energy is something, but again, it's New Age. Okay, go girl.
Yeah.
Crash this one. Crash
Yeah.
this one for us.
Okay, so I just started reading Enoch last night, and yes, it does outline. I don't think it even specifically says the fallen. Yeah, maybe it does say the fallen angels.
The Nephilim.
So yeah, so they come down to Earth and they take wives, these earthly wives, and they fornicate with them, and blah 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 blah. They make these babies. These babies then are these grand giants. And what the big sin is in the Book of Enoch is the fact that you have these beings that came from this heavenly realm. And in the heavenly realm, they have access to this secret knowledge that humans are not supposed to have access to.
And why aren't we supposed to have access to this? Do you think?
That's a good question. It's a good question, because I think it's something that possibly we earn when we move away from this physical human realm. I think. I don't know.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I think about magic and how it's real and it does stuff, and obviously, like, we're all under mass hypnosis, aka magic is being used on us left and fucking right. And so okay, if let's just use the Bible as a way to explain this, just because it's not the only way, but I'm thinking of it. Garden of Eden, God created us. We're here. We have everything we need. Eve bites the apple, and it's that knowledge.
Is it an apple, Carol?
Right, you're right. Bam. That's right, guys. It's called forbidden fruit. Okay, we don't even know. Someone told me that messaged me saying that they actually think that when Eve bit the forbidden fruit, she had sex with Satan. And
I told you that.
Was it you? No,
Did
it was no.
Somebody else told you
somebody
that?
else
Okay.
told me this. So yeah,
Oh my.
I would have remembered if this was in a DM. Yeah, no, we don't even. You and I don't even like really message each other on Instagram anymore at all.
Not anymore.
So this is synchronistic that it just came both ways. Well, and then women had babies and all that, but and I'm sure we've talked about this because I probably like said something to you about this because this, I had this thought that, oh, well, what if, what if this whole man-made world that Satan created, because God's the creator and just creates these souls, these energies, right? That's what we are,
Mm-hmm.
energy. Yes, that's the spirit world. That's what we connect to. When I've astral projected on my body, it wasn't my physical body that went somewhere. It was the energy essence of me. And when we dream, it's the energy essence of us we're living out of. We're not in the physical body. What if Satan creates the physical body? Because the Nephilim having sex with these babes, and then these physical bodies come, and we're all trapped in these bodies because we're all in the new age and we believe in reincarnation so strong that we just keep reincarnating and suffering and sinning, coming back into these bodies, and this is fucking hell. And the whole point of being here is actually wake the fuck up and get and realize that you are just this energy essence, and that, like, I don't know, you free yourself from the cage that you never knew you were in, which is the body, and that's why we don't die. Okay. So anyways, back to the garden. Back to the garden. Anyway, back to the garden. So she bites the apple and she does the magic, and so she realizes there's magic, and everybody's doing magic. Well, look where magic. I'm not saying I'm not an absolute person here. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but it looks like people have been abusing magic by not sharing it and keeping it a secret, and they're using it against us. And that's why I think magic can be bad, is when you're not sharing the knowledge with everybody and you're using it against everyone, and you're trying to be the creator with this magic that God created. So it's just like, that's why I think that the magic needs to be watched, because it can be used incorrectly.
Right. And so, and that brings up a really good point. So, I mean, God promised Adam and Eve, like you said, in Eden, you have everything. The only thing I ask for you is that you do not eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge. And then here comes the serpent telling, and God said, you'll die. Essentially, that was his big threat. You will die if you eat from this. And so the serpent comes along and says, surely you won't die. Surely the only thing that will happen is that you will be like God yourself. You'll have all of this knowledge. You'll know all of the things that God knows. And they eat the apple. Eve eats it first, and then she tempts Adam, and then Adam eats it, and then God comes and he has his wrath. And people say, oh, well, he lied. They didn't die. Okay, but that's you assuming that they would die instantly from eating the apple. They fell from Eden. So when they were in Eden, they were eternal beings. And then they come into this fleshy body. That's how I see it. Maybe they were always in a fleshy body, but the way I imagine it is that they were like light beings first.
Right, because they
a
didn't know they were
vibration.
naked until they were after the apple.
Exactly.
If you have a
Exactly. So
body, you
that's
can't be naked.
exactly. So that's how I envision it. And they eventually do die. Like nowhere in the Bible does it say how old Eve was when she passes, but Adam was 950 years old. And so a theory that I have is that they would have been eternal beings, therefore there would not have been death had they have not fallen for this lie from the serpent. And this creates the wickedness and the brokenness in mankind. The fact that they went against God. They did the one thing that God asked them not to do. I gave you everything, my children. I gave you everything. And you wanted more because you were not satisfied with all of the wonders and the gifts that I gave you. So imagine living in a world for 950 years where there's nothing but brokenness and wickedness in mankind. That's a long time. That's like a sentence of absolute torture. So Adam and Eve did eventually die. And if you look in the Bible, like the first several people in the Bible live these long lives where it's 700, 800, 900 years. And then we start seeing that the average age starts getting cut, down to 180 years. And like Abraham, I think was like 127. The lifespan starts getting shorter and shorter. And
Yeah,
I
and
think
everybody thinks that we're at this place in the world with modern medicine that we're living so long, and it's actually modern medicine's killing us and shortening our lives.
Yeah, and
Pharmakia, hard and
yes.
magic. With a K at the end. Magic with a K.
With a K.
Magic.
That
What
evil
is that?
K.
What is that? I saw that
right.
the first time I ever saw that in the New Age. I was like, What the heck? Or why do people hashtagging? What's the difference of magic with the K, with the K? Am I spelling it wrong? Am I missing out on something? Does it, like, we're still speaking these English words, but everybody's, so it's all bullshit anyways. But everybody's got to put
Well,
that little K at the end.
is the K for knowledge? For the
Oh,
forbidden knowledge?
maybe. I actually think it's to be honest, I think this is tied to Aleister Crowley. I
Oh,
think
it for sure is.
he's the one who started magic with the K at the end. I think.
He definitely did. Yes, this is true.
Pretty certain.
So, in my
sorry
opinion,
guys. Anybody doesn't know what Aleister Crowley is? He's a fucking.
we'll get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. But
we're gonna get there.
I'm like,
we're gonna go. We're starting at
right
the beginning with Garden of Eden.
We're gonna be here all day.
Oh, for a little bit.
We have to go to the bathroom at least, and then we'll be back.
Yes. So
me and bathroom breaks.
I'm there with you.
No, I'm gonna talk. I guess I feel like I want to talk this for a second. I was listening to my episode with Cosmic Keys, where I did the astrology report for this fall yesterday with my friend, and we're watching the video because he shows the natal chart of the fall, and it's cool to watch. And I get up all of a sudden in the video. I was like, where am I going? I literally didn't remember because I'd done like 30 podcasts in like 2 or 3 months. I don't remember even fucking what I've been saying on here. Sorry, guys, if I've been like, I've been giving empty promises left and right about my book publishing. Sorry about that. And there's some empty promises about guests, like the pee drinking guy never came on. Sorry about that. I am going to stop making empty promises, but I got up to take a bathroom break, kept it rolling, and just told Dan to keep talking. But anyways,
I remember that.
Bathroom breaks are important to me because, like, as a kid in elementary school, I remember, like, in 4th grade, like, Mr. Crook would never let us go to the bathroom when we needed to. And so at lunch, Mrs. Wilkinson would always, the lunchroom lady would let me sneak into the bathroom and go to the bathroom because anyway, so the point is obviously it's very important to me if someone has to go to the bathroom. I think we should all be comfortable to go to the bathroom. I think we should all be comfortable to fart. I think we should all be comfortable to burp. After doing ayahuasca, you really learn that when you burp and you fart and you purge, you're letting energies out that shouldn't be in you.
It's a release.
Obviously, they would want us to be embarrassed for farting, a natural thing. Obviously, they'd want us to be embarrassed for burping, a natural thing. And you know what? Who doesn't feel better after a good fart or a good, like, long burp? Anyway, back to God.
Okay, back to God. So I think...
Clown! I told you I'm a clown.
Oh, no, it's awesome. I think personally, the reason the lifespan has gotten shorter is maybe mankind's gotten a little bit more wicked, and it's God's grace for us by making us live shorter lives so that we don't have to suffer.
Yeah. Some people might not like hearing that, but I absolutely think that planet Earth is not the end all. So I think there's better places to have a lifetime, possibly.
I agree.
How about that? There's one.
Oh, okay. So speaking of heaven, we were talking about the Book of Enoch and how the fallen angels brought their secrets, the heavenly secrets, down to these women, and they started showing women how to what they call cut roots. So cutting roots is essentially harvesting sacred herbs and making magic.
Are you thinking about? I'm suddenly thinking about cutting cords, but as you say,
cutting roots. So roots of plants, because that would have been the thing that I would have thought of first, because as an energy healer or a former energy healer, that was something I help people do all the time, is cut cords. So that would have been the very first thing I thought of when I heard the cut the roots. But when they taught the women idolatry, so worshiping idols other than God. And so this is what really, according to the Book of Enoch, what really started this wildfire amongst mankind of these sinful acts against God. And again, it's that empty promise from Satan of,
oh God, now you're calling me Satan because I give empty promises.
I'm not calling you.
No, I'm just kidding.
I should have worded that differently.
Promises after I just repented for my empty promises. I'm not even giving a date for my book now, though. I think it's going to publish on 12/22/21 because of the date. I am still magic. Yeah.
How
and
come
plus the Matrix is coming out that day, Matrix 2, and I want to be like, my book's coming out that day. Yeah.
That's awesome. You could wait until 6/6/2022, which is 666.
Oh, gross.
It is gross. I know. Just
Gross.
everyone prepare your
June
hearts for that day.
6th, June 2022 is 666. You're right. Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
Barf.
Sorry.
And
What?
yeah, wow. Okay.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
don't do
Thanks
that.
a lot.
Just
Something to look forward to.
I know. There's going to be some fuckery going on that day.
Oh, big time. Even if we don't hear about the rituals that they do, these people are
Oh,
sick.
they are
These
sick.
people are
Oh,
sick.
yeah. And so this is, yeah. I mean, it is the wickedness of man,
Did you
right?
just
There
get
is.
that? I just thought I love you in my head. Did you get it? I like just put that out. We just had I was like, felt like we just had a moment there.
Well, I feel flushed,
I
so
know.
me receiving your love.
I know I'm horrible. I just send little
You're
telepathic
not.
energy messages to people. I'm like, anyway, okay, back. Where were we? Where were we?
Oh, the book of
Enoch.
Enoch. Okay,
Enoch and
so
the rooting.
yeah, so Enoch was Noah's grandfather, and so it is this essentially this period of time.
Whoa.
Yes,
Enoch was Noah, the one with the boat. That okay.
grandfather.
This is why God had. It is. I was right. This is why God had to flood the. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
absolutely why.
Making
So
sense
it's
to me.
important. Yeah, important for people to know that this is the time period that led up to Noah and God saying, build your ark, and I have to flood the earth in order to rid it of the giants, and these half breeds, or what would you inner what do you
Half
call it?
breeds, babes and Nephilim, babes,
Yeah,
demons
the
and babes. A demon babe,
this
a
this
debabe.
Yeah, and okay, so this reminds me so much as I'm reading this. It reminds me of a post that Elizabeth April did
I had already
last
thought
week.
about this. I know. Go ahead. Do
Yeah.
it. Go ahead. Say it.
Okay, so it was just this little meme where it's basically saying that the only hope for mankind and for us to evolve is for us to then breed with extraterrestrials. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, no, no,
Yeah.
no! I fully reject that.
No. No. You may
I
not.
fully
No.
I know, and I
I don't even want to
reposted
have a
it.
human baby. No. I can't
I
think about what it'd
posted.
be like to have an extraterrestrial baby.
That thing would like rip its way through your,
Wait a
like the
second.
movie Aliens.
I was just thinking about that and Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, Rosemary's Baby.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my gosh.
and you know what they said that Kate Middleton and the other one, what's the other one? She was a yacht girl. Did you know? Oh, Harry's wife. What's her name? Meghan
Oh,
Markle.
Meghan Markle.
Did you know Meghan Markle was a yacht girl? Do you know what a yacht girl is? I
Yeah,
saw
aren't they the
that.
ones that go? Yeah, they go
Yeah,
on the
these
yachts with
billion.
the old guys.
Yeah, these are like the.
And
I saw this
yeah,
thread on her on her once how she was a yacht girl, and she anybody doesn't know, I
yeah,
just want to say real fast. This is kind of funny, because she's a real D-list actress, and these women they get hired to go on these boats and like canes with these billionaires and stuff, and they're yacht girls. So,
and
anyways,
dance in their bikinis with these
yep.
billionaire old dudes,
And
these
who
crusty
knows?
dudes.
Yeah, and sexual toys, and so Meghan Markle and Catherine Middleton, whatever. Yeah, Kate Middleton
Okay.
both had horrible pregnancies. So bad, I think they were both kind of bedridden for a while. Well, guess who else
Yeah,
did? Rosemary's mom, Rosemary, and
yeah.
Rosemary's baby when she was having the Antichrist or Satan's kid or something like that. Well, one more last thing, and then we'll get back to this story of these hybrids. All three of the
Hybrid.
are
Thank you.
hybrids. Diana. Oh, Diana too. Diana. Princess Diana also had horrible labor pains, horrible pregnancy pains, horrible pregnancies, because these women might very likely be doing this hybrid shit, that's having alien babies. And guess what? They all wore. Diana did, and Rosemary and Kate Middleton. I don't think Meghan Markle did, but they wore this red dress right after they had their first baby with the white collar, which is what she wears in Rosemary's Baby. And just saying, now I'm not so sure we want to have those hybrid alien babies here. I'm not so sure I want to do that.
Well, let's be sensitive. They're not called aliens. They're called extraterrestrials. You can't
I
be
know Demi Lovato
so
just said
offensive.
but you know what's funny is I actually sort of feel like I received that message when I had had like, when I was channeling like it was connecting to these beings. I guess I remember kind of receiving that message too, but fucking ridiculous.
Okay, because think about how aliens are marketed to us. If you think about how they're portrayed in movies and whatnot, then yeah, if you are an extraterrestrial, just meaning that you are not of this earth, right? And aliens we think of as being from outer space, whatever the fuck space is.
Yeah, I know, I
But
know, I know, I know, I know. I used to be like, it's an infinite galaxy, everything goes on forever. No, no, no. I'm like, I'm not even sure.
could be,
There is
it
outer
could be,
space.
yeah,
I wonder if the
yeah.
stars are all created on the armory sphere, and Satan's created this world where his little lights line up, and they create the astrology of who we are when we come in these bodies. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know either. But
So we were talking about the roots. These women, they started doing the magic,
the
and
roots, yeah,
we had Metatron, or no, Enoch, who was Noah's
Noah's
grandfather.
grandpa.
That's where we are.
Yeah, so just the importance of knowing the lineage of that, the timeline of it, of how we got from Enoch and the Nephilim and the hybrids and stuff, and how we got to God saying, there really is no way I can correct the brokenness in mankind. Like, you guys have gone so far all over the edge that I can't save you. So the only thing to do is to renew the face of the earth. And they had never
Flood
seen.
this bitch. I'm gonna pull
They
I'm gonna pull the fucking plug on y'all because I told you to stop idol worshiping, and y'all got your statues, and you're all worshiping, Diana the Huntress, or I don't know, Isis, or whoever you're fucking idling. People, celebrities now, we're doing that. But like,
there's
the thing
idols
is
all
that
around us.
it's just that the thing is like, I guess the issue with idol worship is what you're not thanking the creator. You're not connecting with the all, whatever anybody. I'm gonna say, like, I am not here to say what God is at all. I don't believe we can know.
We
What
can't
God,
even comprehend.
I don't exactly. I don't even think we can comprehend. But I can tell you for sure, Baal is not my God. I don't see Buddha as my God. I don't see any other being out there as my God. There's no name for it. I don't have a God I worship. There's nothing. My God is, I can't put words to it. And I do think that there's been all sorts of books that have been written and stories and such to explain what God is, but nothing has ever even honestly put a finger on it. But anyway,
no, and we're not supposed to know. That is that knowledge that we're not supposed to know. And it even says in the Bible. Yeah, it says in the Bible, you can never know. There is no one, maybe Jesus Christ got to see what God looked like. But other than that, it says all over in the Bible, you will never know. You're not supposed to know. And yet we're constantly looking for that. And that is what the New Age takes advantage of.
Because if I say I'm God, then I'm you. Then I take authority over you. You know what I'm saying? Or everybody.
Exactly.
If I'm God, then I'm queen of this whole world. And so how could I say that and then you be here too and have your own unique consciousness?
Okay, and that's where all of the conflict starts, right? Because if I'm a god and you're a god, then we are ultimately equals, right? So then what happens when I don't agree with your belief system and you don't agree with my belief system? Well, I'm a god. How could you not agree with me? So it just creates all of this conflict where we're constantly looking at proving somebody else wrong, and we're constantly in our ego. Like, I don't care what the New Age tells you. You cannot escape your ego. And some of the most ego-ridden people I know are New Age teachers. And I have so many examples of ways that they display it all the time about how they think they are superior. Like when you have the entire spiritual community that came together last September before the election and put out this collective message for anyone that follows yoga or meditation or anything in the new age. We as a community are coming out and we are denouncing Q and Q followers, because QAnons had infiltrated into the yoga studios, and these yoga teachers were like, we can't get it, it's a dark entity, it's a dark spirit, is what they were saying. And I'm like, wait, you told me that there's no such thing as duality, but now you're going to tell me that this person sitting next to me that has this belief system in this, whatever QAnon is, that they're wrong and you're right?
Yeah. No, the cancel culture in the New Age community is unreal. The only person ever that I ever noticed, honestly, to block me when I came back on Instagram was the group I had done ayahuasca with. And I was like, whoa, like, you guys are New Agers. I thought you loved all. I thought I saw you taking mushrooms and asking for Christ consciousness. Wait a second. But we talked about egos just there, and it's like there's no ego death. They talk about having an
No.
ego death or that dark night of the soul, that one you took care of it. No, there's no ego death. There's because you can't kill the ego. I actually think you can dance with the ego and get to know the ego. The ego can be a great teacher for you, but you're gonna tell me that you killed your fucking ego and it's gone? No.
Then you wouldn't be human anymore. That is what
Yeah.
makes you human. And okay, so let's talk about duality for a second, because that has been such a big message in the new age community. I mean, I was trying to teach my clients in my healing sessions with them how to how to ascend beyond duality. And duality is the difference between
And it's a secret, everybody, where they're ascending to. They're not,
we don't know.
Nobody tells you where you're ascending to. Get your vibration raised. Raise your vibration to what? To what? It's a secret. It's a secret. It's a secret.
Yeah, you'll find out when you get there.
Don't worry. You're gonna love hell. I mean, you're gonna love it there.
Yeah. So
you'll be a god there. Don't worry. A dog. No, God. Dog. I don't. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know. I love dogs though. I have 3.
They're amazing.
They're amazing.
They are. Okay, so
I know I'm horrible.
duality.
I got everybody off track. I watched.
No, it's okay. It's
but no more empty promises. I swear.
No. Okay, so duality is the recognition between right and wrong, good and bad, or good and evil. So let's think about, if you were to dissolve duality, you would go to a singularity, right? So having a one single viewpoint. Everybody would have to have this one single viewpoint, and you rid yourself of judgment. Well, what happens when you do that? There's no morality anymore, meaning you can't distinguish between what's good and what's bad. So if someone were to go out and murder your best friend, well, you can't judge them anymore and say that was wrong or right. Right?
Yeah.
So then everything's equal. Everything's equal. What do you do without morality? I mean, that's the thing that scares the living shit out of me.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people with no morals running around and not caring and being numb. And it's like, you saying this, and I'm thinking about how I had been hearing even myself, there's no good or bad, you guys. It's not good. And in there's ways we can look at that concept. Like you can look at, like I can look at all the suffering I've been through in my life and think that was bad. Or I can go, yeah, it hurt and it sucked, but I'm going to remember it as a powerful thing that I masterclassed it or transmuted or moved through, experience, whatever word you want to put in there that works for you, do that.
And but not alchemy, because alchemy is sorcery. And
right. No, don't use that anymore, guys. You gotta cut that out. I am not an extremist. I am not an absolutist. I want to be really clear with everybody. Like, I am just here to discuss all these things because we want to talk about these things. I'm not attaching myself to anything. I'm fluid and I allow myself to evolve and grow, and I think we all should too. But no right or wrong. You got to be careful there because, and I know I heard Cassie say this once, and it was like when she was waking up out of the new age, she's like, children are being trafficked and abused out there. That's wrong. That's not okay. And the new age teaches soul contracts, which, yeah, maybe we do have some soul contracts if you want to think of it that way. Again, I think this is like God, where how can we put words to it? I don't really think we're in the spirit world sitting down writing fucking contracts. Come on, guys. Well, can't think of a more Matrix 3D thing. Why would we ever be doing that?
Definitely.
But it's not some child's soul contract to be abused, taken, advantage of and murdered or whatever. That's just bad. That's evil. That's wrong to me. That's not, you get what I'm saying? I don't see the good in that.
There is no good in that. And by them selling you the idea of a soul contract is just making you complacent to the evils around you. And that's terrifying. Right?
It's in my contract, guys. I can't speak the truth here because it's in my contract. I got a non-disclosure in my soul contract about this. So I just have to let this happen.
So let's think about that. New thought. If you have a soul contract to come here and be beaten and abused by your parents as a child, but then also you're the creator of your own reality, then you're the one that manifested that. Don't those two kind of conflict?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, no.
Don't they conflict?
Absolutely.
Like, am I God in my own reality and I created that? Or
breach of contract here? Yeah, no. No. Yeah.
There's
Why would you
so
have created that?
Much.
I know.
There's so much conflict.
It's deception, it's deceiving, it's
It
confusion.
is.
Yeah, and
It is. So,
then I
okay, so
heard too that the new age would be like, oh, but now you can rip up your soul contracts when you want. Well, I'll do whatever the fuck I want anyway.
yeah, I was taught that too. My mentor taught me, hey, you know what? You can access your soul contract or the soul contract of your clients, and
It's like something
you
you're
can
bowing down. Oh, thank you, New Age, for giving me permission to access my
exact.
soul contracts. Oh, thank you, New Age.
I know.
Idol
I'm like,
worship.
well, without you telling me that, I never would have even thought that was possible. So yeah, I mean, it's
Right.
so absurd. Is it? I'm sorry, and I I'm tempted to say I'm so sorry to anyone who's listening to this that might be triggered to this, but I'm
It's
not
a triggering.
sorry.
This is a super triggering conversation, and so
I'm
we
not
just,
going to apologize for
yeah,
it. Yeah,
no, we
it.
shouldn't. We shouldn't.
And if you're triggered right now, and we haven't even gotten to the most triggering topics that we've been talking about, and if you're triggered by this already, I invite you, I really invite anyone to maybe take a pause and sit in that moment and figure out why you're triggered. Why is it so offensive? Okay, this is why is it so offensive when someone challenges your belief system, but you have no problem going to a Christian and telling them that reading the Bible is bullshit, that going to church is just mind programming, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah. I know it's very arbitrary, and I love that you just said sit in your triggers, because something that you've even said to me, because even like our discussions, I've told you, oh, that something that you did triggered me, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
we'll talk about
We'll
that.
get to that. Don't worry, everybody. I'll tell you what really triggered me. She did, but we're still friends, and
And I
we're
did not
not.
apologize for
No, and
it.
you did not apologize, and I'm sure I've said things that have triggered you. I'm just sure I trigger. I feel like I trigger everybody. Like people,
It's
like,
good.
yeah, but
How do you
that's a really,
learn?
yeah, and that's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing, is that we'll sit in that discomfort and move in there and look at and take the opportunity to grow. And so I like to say your triggers are your teachers, and I think it was Conrad was like, that was that very new age thing, Karen. That's what the new age says. And so maybe it's a new age thing, but I'm not saying all things in the new age are bad or good. I'm not here to say that. I'm just, you use what speaks to you in that moment, and that's okay. Even if you are manifesting everything in your life right now, like, okay, cool, but just want to let you know, I looked up the definition of manifest, and it says it's only means that it's clearly apparent to the sight or understanding. It's obvious. So that's all that manifest means. It's something that's obvious, that already exists. So you can go ahead and keep telling me that you're manifesting and just seeing what's obviously already there, but let's just, let's think about that. Okay.
Yeah, and we search for confirmation bias in everything that we do. So if you have a belief system, you're constantly looking for things that back up and
Which has the word
validate your
lie in
belief.
it. Be lie,
Yes.
which you told
Be
me,
that.
which I tried to say at the beginning of the episode and totally butchered. Be lie. Like, oh, I hear the word belief, and I just hear
I
the word
know.
lie now because of you.
Yeah, and here's why. Because if you look up belief in a thesaurus and you look up what the opposite of belief is, it's truth. And that's a hard pill to. I just heard that for the first time maybe a month ago, and I sat there absorbing that message. I'm like, that cannot be true. That cannot be true. Belief and truth, they have, like, why would I believe something that's not true? Hell, we believe things that aren't true all the time.
All the
Like, we are
time.
such suckers for it. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds good to us. We find this confirmation bias, so we go searching for the information that either confirms, well, no, we really are, we're looking for something that confirms our belief. So it supports us in believing something is true, or it supports us in believing something is untrue. And that's the filter that we look at life through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And that's that filter that they've created too, where they've chiseled us down, where we're not confident, we're not trusting ourselves. We're going outside for everything, and even like our health, we don't believe we can. Here I'm using the word, but we don't have the truth that we can heal ourselves. We've forgotten how all this wisdom within us, because they've been chiseling us down. It's MK Ultra, long term, watered down to all of us. There's World War III is going on, or whatever, World War 5650, blah 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 blah. Because it's not just World War III. This is just this reset right now. This is this Tartaria right now. This moment of time. The same old story, a little bit different, whatever. With some new age music, but I don't even know what I was saying. All right, back to the story, because we are gonna go through this. Let's get in here, back in there. Where are
Yeah.
we? Where are we in this your timeline?
Okay. So well, I guess we were getting to the point is Enoch Metatron?
Oh, right,
Which is,
okay.
I don't know. I don't know where that came from. That is a New Age teaching. That's not biblical. And why? Okay, so the book of Enoch is not actually in the Bible.
Right. Why?
It
Well,
was
but
what.
I heard that only like 21 of 300 books made the Bible.
So
It was a
the Old Testament is the original Hebrew Bible, which was written before Jesus Christ.
and life existed before Jesus Christ.
Yes, there was a
I just
whole
wanted to
heck of
say that.
lot
I
of
don't know.
and here's the weird thing, like
I
people
love you,
think
Jesus. I just had to say that.
people think that the modern times, okay, so we're in the year of 2021, and they think that year 0 was the year that Jesus died.
Just like I'm on year 1 because I woke up last year. Create your own
So
reality.
yeah, so
Manifest
year
it. I hate that word now. It makes me want to vomit when people
I
say, I
know.
manifested this. I'm like, no, you didn't. You observed that.
Yeah.
It's not in
So
your control. You can't change the weather. Maybe some people can. No, I do know people that can. You can.
they
But
they
they
can.
don't manifest it.
I have conjured up the spirit of the wind before on a couple of occasions. I don't think I will ever be doing that again. But I the spirit of the elements.
Enough apple for you for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spirit of the elements are real. I do believe they're real, but is it for us to dabble in? That's the question I have.
Depends what your intentions are. But I'm sure there's an issue
Does
with
it?
that.
Does it though?
I knew you were
Because
gonna do that. I
let's
knew it.
talk.
I knew it.
Let's
Wanna
talk about
that? Do we
intention.
need to talk about intention real quick? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's talk
Crush
about
it. Crush it,
intention.
girl. Crush
Okay,
me down.
so this is
I'll
so
be
a
a
lot of
broken
people.
person for after this conversation, and you
Will
listener
be
will be too.
nothing but rubble left.
But what comes out every breakdowns lead to breakthroughs, and you must break things down and remove what doesn't serve you to rebuild. Build back better, which is 666 BBB. Yes, we can. Reverse is thank you, Satan. Okay. Anyways, law of reversal. They're satanic, you guys.
There you go.
Whether or
okay, so
not you believe in God, whoever's listening, whether or not you believe in God, I just want you to know most of the world either does or doesn't strongly. And there is a group that doesn't, that believes in something other that's really fucking dark and satanic, and they're running things. But anyway,
yes, and that's
knows that it's listening. I feel like it's something new, but it's the same old story. Nothing
but
new under the sun.
some people disregard it. They're like, okay, it's they don't want to know it.
And you're like, really? What air are you breathing? Because they are spraying it with all sorts of shit, and you're breathing the same. It's just we are all here together. We are macro, but okay.
Yeah.
You were going into intention.
Intention.
And
okay,
I just tried to get you to not talk about it because I'm not ready to hear it.
No, it's just a perspective, and that's all I'm doing. I'm giving a perspective, and no one has to even agree with me. I'm not asking anyone to agree with me. It's just a perspective.
You might not even agree with what you're saying. We don't know
In
what the
2
person
weeks,
who's telling us something. What they, we shouldn't.
Okay, anyone who knows me is that whatever my perspective is right now, 2 weeks from now, it's going to be totally different. I mean, it's just who I am. I just shift perspectives on the constant. The more information I take in, yeah, and I think it's a healthy thing. It drives most of the people in my life nuts because they're like, why aren't you're so unstable?
Yeah, I know. People are like, who are you now?
I'm curious.
No,
I'm just curious.
Maybe it's not good to be too solid.
No, it's not. That's so NPC, right? And so that's sometimes I get so crazy. I get so overwhelmed with all of the knowledge I'm bringing in and all of the information because I just like to research and I just like to get to the root. Like I want to know the root of certain things, and then it's so much information that I have to go into.
Those
like
women.
The cutting of the roots.
I know. That just made me think of that. Are you getting into is that hidden knowledge that you're into? What's your intention?
Yeah, probably. So
I know. I just brought us back to intention.
I know. Okay, intention.
Let's telepathy.
Just okay, so people say it's all about your intention. So as long as you do it from your heart, well, as long as you do this thing from your heart. I've done things from my heart that have hurt other people.
Like
I've
what?
done things that felt really good to me,
Mm-hmm.
that, like lying, like deceiving, like, how
That
many
felt
times
good
did
in
I
your
lie?
heart.
How many times did I lie to my parents in high school? Okay, you have a curfew. You must be home tucked into bed by 10 p.m. Okay, well, I have this giant window that's easy for me to crawl in and out of. I can go around the side gate, which is on the opposite side of where your bedroom is, mom and dad, and you can't hear me. And I walk around the block, and my boyfriend picks me up, and we go get a hotel room for the night. That feels good in my heart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that, you know, and uh, yeah, I mean, there are some. I've done some pretty rotten things in my life
And I
as
have,
a
you have.
as a person that people look at
We're
as
gonna
being
end
a
this
really good.
conversation now. Then I don't want to talk to a
Yeah.
rotten. I'm just kidding. You're going. I've done some rotten things too. Don't worry.
I'm so sinful. I'm sorry. Yeah, but
I
there's just, I think everyone can think of some kind of circumstance that they've been in. I mean, there. This is horrible. How many mothers are out there that felt in their heart the best thing they could do is to end their child's life because they can't provide for them, or they can't.
okay. This is a
this
good
world
example
this
because
world can't provide.
yeah, no, I haven't myself had an abortion, so I can't speak from that, but I know plenty of people who have. And every single one of them had to make that decision that they didn't feel that they could care for that baby, and in their heart they felt it was the right thing to do. Every single one of them regretted it after. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like, for their whole lives, I feel like they're sad about it forever, but in that moment they felt like it was what they were supposed to do because their heart told. This is like, I think this is a great example of the heart thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's something that they chose for themselves. Really, they chose for themselves alone,
Right.
because they probably, well, it's not fair for me to say that. I'm making an assumption.
Yeah, and abortion's such a, I had
Right.
to, of course I had to bring up abortion. Like that's one of
No,
those things, like the
I
Holocaust,
would,
you can't, these words
I
come
would have
up and
gone there too.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
know you would have.
it's such a huge way to show that example of the intention of your heart.
Yeah.
Well, there could have been someone who was waiting to adopt that child,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I mean, you could get into the conversation of when does the soul enter the body,
But weird. Yeah, I mean,
right?
I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a that's like a that's one of those, how, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know.
It's really tough.
I don't
And
remember. I personally, I like to go to my own experience, and I don't remember that my first. I like to think back, when's my first memory, and I started remembering probably 6 months after I was born.
oh
But I don't
wow.
remember before that, so I don't. I don't know if that was when my soul came in my body, but then my mom would probably say the first time she felt me kick, or I don't. You know what I mean? The first time
The
the
first
mother
time
felt
she
the energy in the womb, or I don't
first time she saw
know.
your heartbeat on an ultrasound. I mean, who knows? There's
Yeah.
the Catholic religion believes that the soul enters the body. Well, conception happens when the sperm meets the egg. And there's a whole process that happens from there, but a lot of cultures really believe that that is the moment that the soul enters the body, is when you have this connection, and there's this zinc spark that sets off all of this chemical reaction that eventually grows into a human being. I mean, it's such a phenomenal aspect of the fleshy realm that we live in.
And it's making me
Eh,
think about that thing I said about the body and Satan earlier for some reason. If I'm looking weird, I'm suddenly thinking, I still think the soul is the conscious spark that knows it's alive. So I don't feel
yeah.
like the heartbeat would be for me. I feel like that's when the body comes
Mm.
alive. Oh wow, I heard that echo in my ear really loud. I would have been able to be on here. But for me, I feel like the soul comes in the body once consciousness like hits on that. I don't know. I don't feel like we
Yeah,
can
we don't
talk.
know.
We
Like
can't
this.
talk for. I mean, I'm not here to. This is definitely not like a debate on when life comes in or anything at all like that. Like I'm not like trying to say that at all because this is touchy stuff
It is, and
that we don't have the
there.
answers to.
No, and there's a theory. I think probably a lot of your
Just
listeners
a bunch
are
of
familiar.
beliefs. Just a bunch of beliefs.
Well, if you want to talk about CERN for a moment, and what they're doing at
Which is the
CERN.
particle manipulator in
Yeah, the collider. So
they're
there's
trying to recreate dark matter for anybody who doesn't know. And this Nick Hinton talks about this in his book, the singularity. Oh my god. Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, I have the book.
It's a great book, and Nick Hinton's awesome. And he's about to come out with his third book, which is on synchronicities. Yes. It's the Aquarian Singularity is the name of his second book.
Yes.
He talks all about CERN in it. Episode 5 or 6, I have him on, and we talk about this if you want to know more about CERN. But it's a particle manipulator, and they're trying to create dark matter, and they're trying to play God, and it creates the Mandela effect.
Okay, so here's another theory of that. They have this track, and they're taking these particles and they're slamming them together to see. And it may be that they were looking for the dark matter. It also may be that they're reverse engineering the moment that the consciousness enters, the soul enters the body. That's another theory of it, is can they capture that moment and prove? I think deep down inside, they're trying to prove that God exists or God does not exist. It's just, that's my theory.
Oh, those poor souls, they should really just take a quiet moment and talk to God. I don't have to do all that.
Well,
God will prove to you that there's whatever God is, will prove to you that God exists. And I can say that he exists, but I'm just saying he, whatever. I don't know if God, I don't think God gives a whatever, but these CERN people trying to do all of that to prove God, like, sit the fuck down and have a conversation with God. Like, we can all do that, like, from within.
But instead, they're having these dance parties around that giant bronze statue of...
With a Shiva,
is it Shiva?
Out front.
Yeah, exactly.
We both just did that at the same time. Okay, which Shiva, I had a statue of Shiva, and I think the worst I ever got into idol worship was just believing that celebrities were real and that they were famous and felt better than me, and that politicians should be listened to and doctors should be listened to and scientists were smarter than me. That was, to me, all idol worship. But then when I got into the New Age, I started getting the statues. And I've always loved Ganesh. Like, Ganesh came to me, I talk about this a lot, when I was on psychedelics in my 20s. I'm 39 now. And I saw Ganesh with my eyes open, like, this is not on the psychic plane. This was like here, and in energy form. And I didn't know what Ganesh was. I had to look that up later. And that happened again with some other stuff that I've seen that's in the spirit world. But that, let's talk about Ganesh for a second. This is Ganesh. Here we go. Let's just do it. Everybody knows I love Ganesh so much, but I never idol worshipped Ganesh. I never had a statue of Ganesh until I started getting into the New Age stuff, and I saw that they did this. But having these little statues, it's kind of like idol worshipping a little bit, right? Like, for sure. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, my Catholic in-laws have statues of Mother Mary. That's idol worship. They pray to her. Well, why are you praying to Mary? And that's going to trigger people. And
right, because I want to say right away, what's bad about praying to Mary? Can't I pray to Mary and love God and have God?
You can.
Oh, I just like settled my shoulders and like I just there. Now you go.
You can pray to whatever you want to pray to, but Mary, like the Catholic Church teaches you that Mary is the Queen of Heaven. It doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that Mary's the Queen of Heaven. So who created that? Okay, but
I don't trust the Catholic. I wouldn't trust the Catholic Church for anything, because it's tied to the Vatican, and they worship in a snake's head. Literally, you guys, it's a snake's head. This is in my highlights. I just want to say, anybody who's loves these kind of little red pills and things that I'm talking about, I started sharing them on my stories on Let's Be Friends, and I'm making highlights, like red pill highlights, and it has all this stuff on there. I'm doing fun stuff, like I'm talking about things like the Vatican being a snake head, and you look at the art behind the Pope, it's demons. It's demons. He's got snakes on his scepter. Yeah. They're killing children. It's obvious that all these Catholic priests had been molesting children, and anybody who I know who went to Catholic schools fucking hated it and said the nuns were mean and slapped their hands with rulers and just weren't cool. And I'm not saying it's all like that, because I'm not an absolutist. I'm just saying I feel like that the Catholic Church has been infiltrated.
Oh, it has.
Full of beliefs.
So, just a little background for people that don't know.
Manifestation.
Yeah. I was raised Mormon. I stopped going to church with my family when I was 8. We went back for a little bit when I was 13, but I've not been part of the Mormon religion for a very long time. When I met my husband, I started going to Catholic church with him, and it was a very bizarre thing for me. But I am part of a Catholic community. I will not ever convert. I don't ever plan on getting baptized. I don't ever plan on adopting that as my foundation, because I can see from a biblical standpoint that the Catholic Church is not as pure. Well, I don't even have to say that. It's not
after all
as
the shit I just said about it.
yeah. Okay. So I have a theory about the Vatican and the whole sex scandal. Scandal. Excuse me. The Vatican is one of the most powerful entities in the entire world.
Yeah,
They are
they have a great art
so
collection
powerful.
too.
Yeah. They have libraries of
Great
things that we will
land. They've
never
got
even know
great
about.
land, great property.
They are rich beyond belief. And
They just had the
so
Clintons there.
yes.
All sort. I've got
That was a weird
friends in
ritual.
low places.
So I have a theory with the Vatican being as powerful as they are. If they didn't want the sex scandal, scandal. I don't know why I can't say that word. If they didn't want, if they didn't want that out in the open, they could have stopped that from being out in the open. They could have stopped it. They didn't stop it. So it's serving a purpose for them for whatever reason. I honestly think there is infiltration definitely in the church. It's probably been there for hundreds of years. I think that letting the scandal break out on the scene 20 years ago was a way of getting people to turn their back on God and turn their back on
they're hijacking
the church.
everything. And I think I'm going to say this, I think even the Bible is kind of a little, like, going to be a little scandalous because the king of the time had to approve it. They didn't write it for like 300 years after this stuff. A lot of this stuff happened, and then certain things were picked out of. But then you can go and say our history books are scandalous. The same kind of thing.
Everything.
The Bhagavad Gita is probably scandalous. Everything was written by somebody and comes from something external, and then we're relying on that. Well, I can tell you, just like the game of telephone goes, you guys, nothing is going to be as it was unless you were experiencing it yourself from your own eyes, which is why I'm coming back to God is found within.
Yeah. I think, sorry, this thing keeps going out.
We're off our timeline of exposing the truth of the history of the New Age. Let's go back to that. Should we steer back to that?
Okay. Should we? Yeah.
Abortion got us off topic. Yeah. We had to get serious for a second because we started talking about
oh my.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Okay.
Way
so,
off. Can we go to Alice Bailey and Helena Blavatsky and I can't say how do you say these names? And Alistair?
Okay, Blavatsky.
We were at Enoch, and then if you have your you have notes, don't you? I know you do.
I do, and I really tried so many times yesterday to go through my notes and really get organized, and there's just no way to do it. So
not when talking to me, because I'll get you. I promise I'll get you off topic.
There's no point.
I'm queen of distraction.
Let's talk about this Helena Blavatsky. Okay, so there's
by the way, you guys, if you're brave, Google her name and look at her picture and look into her eyes. I'm just kidding on that. I don't even like looking at her.
She's scary.
I don't even know this. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so between her and this Alice Bailey, there's conflict on which they both have this title of being the mother of the New Age movement. So Blavatsky came on the scene before Alice Bailey. So Helena Blavatsky, she has a very interesting past. If anyone is interested, it would take us like 2 hours to even get through a description of everything that Blavatsky claims to have done in her life. So if you're interested, you could just look her up on Wikipedia, and it's a lot.
She has a book called Lucifer, right? That stood out to me. Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's Helena that has she's got a book called Lucifer. So
okay, so let's start with, she started this belief system called Theosophy. Okay, so Theosophy is essentially like this. The wisdom of the gods is what Theosophy stands for. And it's the secret teachings that we're not supposed to know, blah, 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 blah.
Back to the
Where
secret.
Blavatsky, yeah. So Blavatsky, at one point in her life when she was a teenager, she went to live with her grandparents. And she was digging through her grandparents' library and discovered this collection of books from her great grandfather, who was a Freemason. And so he had all these books about esoteric topics.
Well, did
So
he have that
she
one book, the man book? What's his name that you?
wasn't out yet because this was in,
Oh, she would have.
yeah,
Yeah, she would have.
she would have. She would have. Yeah. So she traveled all over the world. Allegedly, she went and lived with monks in Tibet. And I say allegedly because during the time that she claims this, then I guess Europeans weren't even allowed into Tibet.
Honestly,
But yet,
sometimes I feel like I wonder if these people even existed because their pictures are so creepy. Even Nikola Tesla's picture is kind of weird like theirs, or I'm like, these people really have these great of pictures? Did they really exist, or were they planted? Anyways, to
yeah.
still
Have you
do
ever
the same
looked?
thing. Yeah, what?
Off topic. Have you ever looked at Nikola Tesla's picture next to George Orwell's?
Oh
George
my
Orwell
gosh,
that
I
wrote
don't need to. I see it in my head
you
right
need
now.
to.
Wow. No, they're like
Yeah,
the same.
they are.
Yeah, I
I
just
confuse
saw
them
like
all the
yeah,
time.
I just like I saw two images of them and it went like they layered on top of each other in my mind and I was like complete match. Like
Yep.
no, I seriously
Exactly.
but hey, if Tesla's not real, okay, hold on. Then maybe crystals aren't correct because Nikola Tesla's science, a lot of it is based off of crystals, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to say something else. Laying in bed last night, I had this thought. If Nikola Tesla was all about free energy, we could actually have free energies right now if the electric companies just didn't charge
Oh,
us. So I'm
yes.
just saying, free energy
Yes.
exists right now. It's not the technique or the technology, guys. I actually fucking think it's that they choose to charge us. Anyways,
Definitely. Because somebody has to get rich.
yeah, but it's literally, you get what I'm saying? It's not the
And it's
technology of
control.
energy
Right.
that makes it we have free energy or not. It's that we live, tyrants are running the fucking show and they're charging us for it.
Exactly.
But look, I got us right off topic. Back to Helena.
Okay. Okay. So Blavatsky, she
Blavatsky.
allegedly when she was in Tibet, then she came into contact with what she calls the masters. Now, if you're in the new age, I know that you've heard of the masters, but you've probably heard of them described as the ascended masters. This is a very big teaching in the new age. This is what people claim to
But where they're
channel.
ascended to is a secret.
Yeah, what realm are they in? And can we be sure who they are? So the masters that she would work with are people like Abraham and Moses and Solomon and Jesus, all from the Bible. Um, Buddha, Confucius. I mean, she's got all these people that she claims to be playing in the astral realm with and gaining this knowledge from. So she channels and she writes her books through
Which
her
I do
channels.
think it is possible to connect with these energies and channel information. I do
Okay,
believe, yeah.
I believe it too. I absolutely believe it. I've done it. I've helped
But do
my
I believe
clients
this
do it.
woman did all this? Keep going.
But she could be. But here's the thing: is that demons are very tricky bastards. Okay, so they can come to you and try to convince you that they are something that they really are not.
Yeah.
So this is something that she wrote in one of her books is Lucifer represents life, progress, civilization, liberty, independence. Lucifer is the savior. She also taught in her books that ultimately Lucifer was the creator of Adam. So there's this idea that there's two Adams. So there's Adam who was in the Garden of Eden. So Adam fell from the Garden of Eden because of the serpent, Satan, Lucifer, they're all the same. So when Adam fell and came to this three-dimensional existence, as we know Adam, that created the lineage to Jesus, ultimately Lucifer was the creator of that Adam, is what she believes, and this is
That
what
would
she
make
teaches.
Lucifer God.
She teaches that Lucifer and God are one and the same. Okay, so this is something that's going to really upset people. She really believes, she writes this in her books.
I think
She
you
writes this
like
in her
saying.
books.
I almost feel like there's a part of you that loves it when you're about it. This one's gonna upset people. You like my Scorpio moon is lighting fire behind you. Yeah, go.
Where do you people think the term love and light comes from?
I don't know, but I want to say one thing. I've never been comfortable with that. I've never been someone who sends love and light. Something never felt right about it. Tell me, where does it come
Well,
from?
your gut is probably telling you, because if you think about, if someone believes that God and Lucifer are equals and they're one and the same, God represents love. Lucifer literally means light bearer.
So that's God and Lucifer.
Yeah, it's basically making them equal, love and light.
And remember, I was gonna say the white
And
light
it's a
thing.
spell.
It's a spot. Oh, love and light. Oh, yeah, it doesn't feel
It's
right.
the
Love
spell.
and light. It doesn't feel right. I'm not gonna wish on anybody love and light, and I'm not gonna fucking wash anybody with white light anymore. I'm not, because I've been
No.
questioning this light. Why is that? It's another thing that New Age to say is like that I noticed it's been driving me nuts lately, just like the manifestation word. Not that you can't use these words and stuff. It's just that it's everything behind it. But that light, let me send you light. Send light to it. Send light to it. Let me just wash light
Or
through you. Send them
send
light.
it to
Oh,
the
you got
light.
the vaccine? Let me just wash you with white light. You're gonna be good. Here's some white light, you guys. Oh, you got a problem? Let me just get my New Age book out here. Oh, white light, white light. What the hell is
Well,
the wet white light?
they transmute everything with light. They
Like it's a
transmute and
fucking
I'm gonna
solution to
alchemize it to
with white
to
light.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's alchemy is sorcery.
Yeah.
So
And
what?
again, like I'm not saying don't use these words. Like I've used I emotional alchemy seems to be a nice one, but I mean, you know, if you alchemize a bad mood into a happy mood, like I can't see anything bad about that. But if you're
Sure,
alchemizing, you're literally like tapping me like a little kindergartner. Sure, Kara.
it's
You
cute,
can do,
Kara.
yeah,
You
do
can
it.
think of
I should. Yeah, yeah.
it.
We're just here to talk about it all. But yeah, I'm not doing the
Yes.
white light and the love and light.
Yeah,
Never
and
did the love and light. Nah, I don't want your light. If someone goes love and light, I go, nah, I don't want your love and light.
I reject it.
And here's some white light though that you might want that I don't want anymore. You can have it. Someone put it on me and I don't want it anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking myself over right now, but I never needed white light for 37 years until the New Age found me.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
needed
And like
white light to heal anything or fix anything.
I think anything that's in the mainstream, like New Age is so mainstream. It's so accepted these days. And I feel like anything that is
Right? It's the
accepted,
elevator music.
yeah, it's like there has to be an agenda behind it. Otherwise, somebody would be trying to stop us from spreading this.
Yes.
If it's meant to do us good and to really enlighten us and really take us to the next level of consciousness, the big they would not allow it. They would not allow us to
Just
learn
like the
these things.
celebrity. Exactly. That's what I think too. I think everything has been hijacked. Everything.
Everything,
Everything.
literally everything.
That's why we have to have discernment. We have to give ourselves discernment, empower ourselves. We are working. We can be on a team here with God. Or you can whatever
But
you're what? Do it. Say it. The co-creating thing. Am I co-creating right now?
I would steer away from the collective consciousness.
Oh, wait, wait, let's talk about that. Is
Okay,
that a net?
so
A net? I just saw this like net in my head. Like whoosh.
that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel like it is. It's just this great big net that is supposed to catch you, that we all live in this collective consciousness and we can tap into it anytime we want to. And we can pull knowledge from this and we could create from this collective consciousness.
Dude, like an internet.
Yes,
They're making
exactly.
us AI. I think the AI thing's already going on.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
And
But
the
let's
body's
think
the
about,
AI. The body thing that I'm talking about. Body's the AI.
yeah,
And this collective
let's
consciousness.
let's
World
think
Wide
about
Web.
what
That Metatron's
what
running.
yes, exactly.
It's a
This
real
made up
thing.
archangel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon you guys won't need God at all. Satan's got something set over here where you can all tap into the collective consciousness for everything.
What are they siphoning off of you when you tap into a collective consciousness? I think it's a trap. I personally think it's just a trap to siphon off of your energy, siphon off of your thoughts, and worse than that. What are they implanting into your consciousness while you're tapped into theirs?
Yep. We don't.
Who's
That's a,
playing in those realms? We don't know. We don't know what is
yeah,
there.
yeah. They.
And yet we fall for it. We fall for the bullshit left and right
I know.
because it sounds good.
And because no, and yes, because we're following our hearts, but we've been chiseled down like this. They've broken us fucking down, man. Like I've really empowered myself the last few years, and that's what I'm out here sharing and talking. But I'm not gonna say that I wasn't miserable and horrible for a long, long time, going through my bullshit and being in a dark place where I didn't have confidence. I didn't even believe in myself. I wouldn't even give the believe lie to myself. I had no truths in myself. I didn't, I felt like I was less than other people, like I was broken and all of that. Well, that's what they're fucking, this MK Ultra, they've watered trauma-based mind control, which is happening with our families through ancestral, training and school system and indoctrination with bullies and not treating each other with respect and watering down our emotions. So we aren't even in touch with, I'm going to say it, our hearts in a good way, where we know we're hurting people and people are just hurting people all the time. They've chiseled us down and we're just doing what they say, and we don't know what this is. We don't really, it's like people don't care anymore.
What if the collective consciousness is just a way for you to tie into an ether in order for them to implant more MK Ultra programming on you?
Exactly. And that, I know, I've been really thinking about these things. It's like, actually, I think it was, I keep talking about the Cassie episode, because if anybody's interested in this episode, Cassie came on. She was a big New Ager, and she went big Christian and Bible kind of direction. So if that's you, that's a good one. But she said, when I was talking to her, she goes, all these people are ascending like a rocket to where? So, and she said it, and I had that, I thought, I had never thought that. All
Yeah.
these guides are talking about ascending, but to where? And you know what else? Everybody's talking about the fifth dimension like it's the end all. Not for me. I'm not ending in the fifth dimension. I actually, like, I'm thinking about the sixth and the seventh, and I'm thinking about whatever beyond. When I think of dimensions, girl, I don't think there's just 12. I think
Oh
there's fucking
no.
so many
Yeah.
like frequencies and dimensions that we can tap into. But this ascension shit, it's almost as if they have a destination. And you want to know what they're calling it? New Earth.
Exactly. But okay, so there is a new earth
In the
taught in the
Bible, but
Bible.
the Bible is not
Yeah,
the end all
but
for
it's
me.
not the same.
Just
It's
this.
not the same. And if you were to say to a new ager, oh, this new earth that we're creating, you mean it's the new earth from the Bible? They would reject
Oh
it
yeah,
so
yeah,
quickly.
yeah, yeah. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Oh,
No,
so
no, no,
it's
no, no, no. Not
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
earth. Not
I'd
that
rather
new
go to
earth.
that one. That one's yeah.
No, no, no. We're going to break off into two different realities. There's going to be the 3D earth here and the 5D earth here. And you have to ascend to this consciousness to get to the 5D earth and blah, 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 blah. And you're going to get left behind. This is everything that Blavatsky teaches. This is everything that Alice Bailey teaches. And I'm talking like this. Helena Blavatsky, she created Theosophy in 1875. So you guys, this new thought that you think you have, it's not new. It's not new in any way whatsoever. It's just repackaged in a new message for a new generation, because the people that were alive in 1875 when this new age and there was a Hinduism Reformation movement that happened in the early 1900s, the people that were alive when this took over the teachings here in the West, those people are not alive anymore to say, oh yeah, I fell for this before.
Exactly.
Let me tell you where this gets you. This gets you to Aleister Crowley. This gets you to Jack Parsons. This gets you to L. Ron Hubbard. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, I mean, L. Ron Hubbard is the guy that created Scientology. And I'm pretty sure most people listening know how crazy Scientology is. I mean, just look at
It's a cult for sure.
it's a full-on cult.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And plenty of celebrities are members of this church, this religion. And this is where all of this came from. And almost every single cult that we've seen here in the West in the last 100 years all branched off from this
Like Heaven's
thought
Gate
process. Heaven's Gate, the people's, what was that called? Jim Jones's, the People's Temple,
what about
the Waco?
Yeah, the
Yes.
Branch Davidians.
The Branch Davidians. They broke off from Seventh-day Adventists, which broke off. I mean, there, and I saw
And these
someone
people,
post
didn't
something.
they did mass suicide saying that they were ascending to go somewhere,
They were
right? And they were
ascending.
like, "Oh,
Okay,
your
thank
kids
you.
are taking the poison," and you're like, they're crying and they don't want to do it because it's horrible. But don't worry, they're ascending to somewhere good. No, you're fucking poisoning your kids, you guys. That was not following their hearts. They may
Yeah,
have thought they were, but they weren't.
it's really hard to sit in this, and this is kind of where my big time jumping off point was of questioning the new age, is when I something Elizabeth April said. I'm like, holy shit, that sounds a hell of a lot like Heaven's Gate. And anyone, if you're young, you probably don't know about Heaven's Gate, but Heaven's Gate was a cult that was started in 1975, and they taught, like, they were obsessed with aliens and UFOs, and they taught that the only way that we could expand our consciousness and move to that next level, they literally called it the next level. The next level in consciousness was for us to leave this planet and jump on a UFO and leave Earth. And they couldn't figure out how to do this until the Hale-Bopp comet came around and was going to pass by the face of the Earth in 1997. And
The
they
name
said, this
Hale
is our
Bopp
chance
makes me
because we
smile and
know.
laugh. Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, I just said Hale Bopp makes me smile and
Oh,
laugh.
there
Like,
you are. Yeah.
bop, bop.
Hanson.
I know.
Yeah. So they were so convinced that in the tail of this comet, there was a UFO, and that they had to leave their heaven or their earthly bodies in order to enter into these heavenly bodies. And the way they had to do that was by poisoning themselves. And then they would leave their vehicle, is what they called it. I'm going to leave my vehicle behind, but my consciousness is going to jump on this spaceship, and I'm going to then ascend to the next level of consciousness.
You know what? And maybe they did, but they ended up somewhere they didn't want to go because they didn't really know
We
where they
don't
were
know where they
ascending
went.
to. I'm saying this
They
stuff,
could have.
magic is real. I'm not suggesting anybody does anything like this at all. This could very just have likely have been a mass suicide ritual.
Oh, for
Lots of
sure.
sacrifice, but also we're not positive. But maybe they did. There was a UFO. If UFOs exist,
And maybe
unidentified.
we're the suckers for staying behind.
Yeah. We don't know,
So
but I'm guessing that
yeah.
they didn't end up where they wanted to go. They
So
probably, you know what? They probably fucking woke up back here in another body immediately. Like,
exactly.
fuck, we're
They're like,
back at Earth.
damn it. Damn that
Now we
Samsara.
have to start from a baby again.
Yep, that cycle of life.
I'm a Gen
Okay,
Xer.
so speaking of UFOs.
Yeah, let's go there. I want to.
Okay. So Blavatsky, she has this teaching. It's all very Luciferian, very, very rooted in Luciferian. The website I mentioned earlier, where I found that Manly P. Hall book and the Book of Enoch, well, they have Blavatsky's books on there. And she has a book called The Secret Doctrine. There's that word again. And this was a book that Hitler was obsessed with. He kept it on his bedside table. And allegedly, it's Blavatsky that then inspired Hitler to use the swastika as because the swastika was a sacred symbol in Hinduism.
Yeah.
It meant good fortune.
Yeah.
And they took
it. Still does to them, right?
Yeah, it does. And it's just like everything that we do.
It's about
We
intention.
take sacred things and we defile them all over the place.
Oh man, it's in they invert it. The law of reversal.
It is all. It is.
That's satanic.
Yeah, it is.
Like, that's
okay,
satanic. That's satanic. I just had some kind of that's satanic, guys. I'm a wise guy now. That's satanic. Law of reversal. Thinking about the lodge in Twin Peaks right now. Think about the lodge in Twin Peaks, right? Yeah, I'm gonna be debunking that soon. Woo!
You should. You go there.
I love Twin Peaks.
So this was something I found yesterday about. Okay, so figuring out. Oh my goodness. Hitler's ties to Blavatsky. And then, did you know that Hitler was a member of the Thule? It's called the Thule Society. And when he was brought to his
F-U-E-L?
It's Thule.
Oh,
Thule. Okay. I know it sounds weird.
Yeah, it
does. That might not even be how you say it. It could be Thule or.
You're being protected by just pronouncing it that way because maybe you don't. I don't know, right? Because
maybe don't go looking. Don't go looking.
Don't
for
stop,
it. I
guys.
beg you.
No,
it's a secret. You can't know. He was a member of this society. When he showed up to the lodge for his first meeting in this society, then the leader of the lodge took one look at him and said, "You're our Messiah. You are the one that has come to embody what they call the Maitreya, which is their Messiah, that then will lead us on our path towards our final glory to wipe the earth of
Yeah, I had
Jews."
heard that Hitler was just used by. I mean, it's everything's
Yeah,
being puppeted by
through
something's
black
being
magic.
puppeted. Yeah, he was
He was
no one
obsessed.
really. He just became. They just picked him. Yeah,
They picked him to be the physical representation of their Messiah, and their Messiah being the Antichrist. They thought that he was the Antichrist. And so he was supposed to usher in this change through the Holocaust. What a massive, horrible ritual. And
awful.
I'm not trying to reduce the Holocaust or anything that happened to any of those people down to just a black magic ritual, because that's
Right.
awful. But it's hard to not go there in my
I'm gonna
mind,
go
knowing the
somewhere really
things that I know.
uncomfortable with that right now. I know. I'm gonna
Okay.
do this. I'm gonna say this. So I had thoughts about the Holocaust recently when now that I've woken up and I know about false flags. I know about how like George Soros is doing a lot of bullshit and like those Haitians that got here all of a sudden, like I don't know how they got to the Texas border, but somehow they got from an island here where no one really knows how. And then like those people that walked from Honduras, they walked in 2016 that they walked 45 miles a day with like no shoes on, carrying babies and no water.
And looking like they showered as soon as they
Oh,
got to
and
the
they're
border,
all
they're
wearing
all
Disney
clean.
shoes. Yeah, and then I saw how they were actors. There's videos of them with bracelets on. There's the behind the scenes. And then the thing that happened at the Capitol on the 6th of January with the shaman. Obvious bullshit. Like, I mean, and I'm going to have Rambo on soon, and we're going to be, he's the, been taught, he and Human Vibration about the everything's fake and that we all live in Hollywood. So, okay, I'm here. I know that in false flags, part of the fuckery is actually people do get hurt. Like,
Yes.
but the okay, I'm
There have to be victims.
yeah. So like in 9/11, like I'd say like I think Human Vibration had said that she believed like nobody was even in that building. So maybe, not as many people died in the Holocaust that we think. Same time, people did die that were workers outside 9/11 that were helping. The first responders were big time victims that weren't actually in the building, but they died. There were people that were actually killed in these concentration camps. We've seen the pictures like that there,
Yeah.
and this happened. But I'm just wondering, I thought maybe not as many people as we think died in the Holocaust. I don't know though. I don't know. But also I want to say one last thing about false flags and 9/11 and the Holocaust. All of us have been traumatized about the history of the Holocaust, learning about it, the people that really did experience it that come and talk about it, like the trauma's real. And also 9/11, every single one of us is a victim of 9/11 because we were all traumatized in that moment. We all have PTSD from that moment. So again,
We
I'm
were
not
all
a
witnesses
yeah, and I'm not a
to
Holocaust
this.
denier here, you guys. I'm not a COVID denier. I definitely think that there's something out there getting people sick. I know something happened in those concentration camps. This is a real thing. I'm just saying in false flags, people actually get hurt, but that's part of the deep deception to make us not want to even talk about it. You can barely talk. I feel like I'm doing
You
something, going
can't.
on some really weird ground here, even talking about this stuff. And we brought up abortion earlier. Like, talk about a triggering episode. But these things that's part of the magic. They don't want us to talk about it. But I sometimes wonder, I'm glad we do have people that question extremes that maybe, some of this isn't what we think. But back to
Yeah, and we know
snoring.
that all, oh,
And now I'm like, oh
we
my
know.
God, where are we even? We're going to be talking for so long. Long as we can. And we haven't gone to the bathroom yet. So pretty good.
Yeah, good. Um, yeah, I mean, it's safe for one to deduce based on this information that, we know that these people are obsessed with the occult for sure.
Yeah.
Like Hitler was obsessed with the occult. So you could deduce from that information that perhaps these rituals were, well, it was a ritual for one, and then maybe it was to usher in this, whatever they want to bring, their antichrist in.
Yeah, well, they killed Kobe on like the 23rd of January or something like that. And he was the ritual to start coronavirus and the COVID psyop.
Yes.
And he's actually even buried in a corona cemetery. It's deep.
That's right.
I'm gonna have Voice of Love and to talk about this. She's got the whole
Oh,
theory on
that's
it.
going to
Yeah.
be
So
excellent.
yeah, it's been a cult magic from the beginning, and they just keep doing this stuff over and over again. And that's why I see that God's like, don't bite off that apple. I think he was not like saying, I don't want you guys to have fun and do magic yourselves. It's like, if you bite off that apple, then everybody can bite off the apple. And some of those motherfuckers out there might end up hypnosing
But
everybody with magic. And to the point where everybody's like, yeah, like people think magic is a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat. No, no.
deception, because they're
Yeah,
not actually.
I know. Exactly.
That the magic that we think is magic is it is just deceiving our eyes. But I mean, we know that realms exist. We know that there are invisible realms all around us, but we're not supposed to be able to comprehend those invisible realms. We want to, because it's that sacred knowledge that we're so hungry for. And I don't know if it's because we feel, if we're just so broken and we're constantly looking for that thing that makes us feel whole. And that's a lot of what the new age tries to sell you on, is you feel empty and you feel broken because you forgot where you came from, and you have amnesia from all of the wisdom you have from where you came from, and you just need to be here and remember it. And I don't think that's true. Like, I fell for that. That's how I got so stuck in the new ages, because I was constantly looking for that thing that's going to fill me up. And things would fill me up, but for such a short amount of time. It's like eating chow mein. Like, I'll eat chow mein and I'll be full, and then an hour later I'm starving again. That's how I feel with the new age teachings and the knowledge, is
Well,
that
I
it
know
just.
you're making me think of like somebody I knew who was into like wouldn't even make a fucking decision without drawing a tarot card. Draw a tarot card on that. It's just it's
Yeah.
obsessive. It's but I you were said something just a second ago about remembering. It's funny. I literally posted something this morning about how we just need to remember. There's nothing to learn. We just need to remember. And I do
Yeah.
believe that. I don't know if that's new agey, but I think that we do have wisdom within us that can be
Hmm.
activated, that can be accessed, that we might be blocking ourselves from, because I've literally seen it happen in my own fucking life. I didn't need the new
Yeah.
age for it to happen. I actually like realized that the new age was God showed me, spirit this spoke to me and said, you, Kara, you woke up June 2020, really, before you even knew what the word ascension meant. No, I never had heard it before. Before you had ever heard Great Awakening before you had ever heard New Age before, any of that shit. None of it. I woke up on my own, so that was how I saw that. I was like, oh, the awakening's been. It has nothing. You don't have to be in the New Age to awaken. You don't have to be in the
No.
New Age to become an ascended master. You don't need that. Actually, like I don't do like moon rituals or anything like that anymore. Not because I'm like afraid of it or I don't agree with whatever. I don't trust it at all. I don't even think worshiping the moon's a good idea. I'm not sure if it's hollow, if it's a hologram. I mean, I'm just saying, and I'm not, but I don't have the desire. I just don't have that desire because I'm just like I'm going within and I'm cultivating Kara and I'm empowering Kara and I'm creating stuff and I'm sharing and I'm not obsessing over the next technique to manifest or whatever. It's that obsession.
Yeah. It is
Possession.
obsession.
Obsession,
Oh,
possession.
possessions.
Let's go there.
Oh my.
Go ahead, do it, crush it.
Okay, so you and I were having a conversation last week, and I was joking around about like the banking system. And oh my gosh, what if the banking system is all like Luciferian? And every time you take out a loan and you go into debt, then you're like signing a contract with the devil,
A
to get new.
contract, fucking words. It's the same words used all
It's
over.
a
And we start
spell,
seeing, I know, I don't have
right?
soul contracts. None. Contracts
No.
null.
So I, in this breath, I'm like, yeah, you're signing a contract with the devil in order to get new possessions. And as soon as I said possessions, I'm like, holy shit, possessions, like how a demon can possess your body. Like, I need to be exorcised from these demons that have, you know I don't know,
Yeah, no,
it's just the
possessions and
word possession,
obsessions
right?
and material items and needing things, and that does.
Yeah.
I've gotten into crypto recently, and
Yeah. That's how we got
I
into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I love it. Listen, we're just sharing with everybody. We should just share our memos and for the next pot. No, no.
No,
I say way more. No, I say way more offensive things. I'm just kidding. No, like triggering
there's no
things.
filter.
But I've gotten into crypto, and I was waiting for my ID to come, and I was missing out on all these great things happening, making money, and I was getting real wound up about it. And I said something to my boyfriend about, I was like, I need my ID so I can trade. I'm missing out on money. And he goes, that's greed. And I went, bam. And you know what? He started
Yes.
like reading the Bible lately because, Jesus has come in my life and I'm interested and I'm learning and he's learning and listening to stuff. And he's literally like all calm, like that sounds like greed. And in that moment, I was like, fuck. And then I felt that it was a blessing though, because see, this is how I'm alchemize this moment. I'm just kidding. I could have said, oh shit, like I'm so greedy, I hate myself and ended there, but that would have been damaging. So instead I'm like, oh no, I'm going to look and go, I'm being greedy right now. So I'm giving this learning moment right now to see how I'm being greedy and to see that energy possessing me, which is demonic. Money is, what
Mm-hmm.
is it, Mammoth or some name like that? It's actually a spirit. Everything that can possess you is a spirit. You guys, demons aren't these, you guys, aliens are not ET. Okay, they're not physical and walking around like that. Okay. And then demons are not like these monster physical things that come out. It's just energy. It's
It
all
is
energy.
energy,
Aliens are
and it's
energy.
everywhere.
Yeah, I
It's
even think
everywhere.
reptilians are energy. I think it's just an energy that you'd see because I can see the spirits and that it layers, right? Oh, I think that this is all the light body, all that shit, right? I think it's all magic. It's there. I've seen it on people where I look at them and I can say, oh, you're very much this or that. It's because I see it. And like, I was thinking about reptilians. I'm like, I don't really think these shapeshifters are going from a physical lizard, like tall 7-foot lizard, to human. I think that they're keeping their vibration down by us keeping the collective vibration down through trauma, and then it's making their light body dim, so we don't see the reptile over the human body they're possessing, but that energy's possessing, so the light body of it is on the outside. It's just accessible if you're vibrating in a way to see it. Does that make sense? I truly
It
think this is
does.
pretty divine what I'm saying, actually, and it came
Yes.
out right.
But can I burst your bubble with
Please.
a theory? Okay.
Yes.
And this is going to make a lot of people roll their eyes, and that's fine because this is just something that I found in my research, and I
Demonic
know
to
it.
roll your
It,
eyes.
it
Anytime I catch myself doing it, I'm like, oh, cool, Kara, you just caught that. Like, that's a fracture. Call it demonic, call it fracture. Again, you guys, we can argue all day over what words we're using, but we're just speaking fucking words that someone else wrote. It's not cool to roll your eyes. That's not pure. So
no, but I,
I
I can I can sense the ridiculousness in how this is going to sound.
okay, same.
Okay, so I started digging into I don't know, some stuff like
Tell
I do.
us. Go to the yeah.
Okay, have you? I've told you about this. We talked about it briefly. Okay, so the serpent seed. So the
Mhm.
serpent seed, going back to the Garden of Eden and the serpent and Eve.
Everything
Okay,
leads
so
back to the garden, not Rome.
it's because that's where we
Is
broke.
that where the
That's
Garden of Eden is in Rome? All those roads lead to
oh, could
Rome.
you imagine?
The
Mm.
bat.
Stop it! Don't go there. Don't even.
Vatican. Anyway,
They're
I
hiding him. It was built.
know.
I'll bet. Yeah, it
The
could be
secret
built on top of
garden.
Eden.
The secret garden. I tried watching the 80s version of that movie the other day. It's creepy as fuck. Do you remember that? Of course you remember.
Oh,
The Secret
yeah.
Garden. Anybody who's of age remembers the original Secret Garden. Anyway, back to
Okay, so the
yes.
serpent seed. It's called the serpent seed doctrine. You can go Google it. Anyone who's
Or
interested.
Duck Duck
And the
Go.
idea, yes. So the idea is that back in the Garden of Eden, you have the serpent that comes down and tempts Eve, and it wasn't with a piece of fruit. You brought it up before. It wasn't with a piece of fruit. It was a seductive kind of
Yeah.
dance, and she was under his spell,
Ew,
and
I just saw
so
Little Nas giving the devil a lap dance kind of thing.
yes. Okay. So here you go. Okay. So the idea was that she was so infatuated with the serpent that It's disgusting. She opens her legs and she lets the serpent defile her. And the serpent then
legs wide open, sitting at the bar, talking to somebody about his car. Says, yeah, I got a Lexus. What's next? You head into his car for some sex. I love Tupac. Sorry. I just heard that. I just rapped Tupac. I can't believe I just rapped.
That was awesome. That was amazing.
Was it? Okay. She said she had a Lexus. What's next? Okay.
Okay. So how do I even follow that up?
I don't know.
Okay, so the serpent then lays his seed inside her, and then she goes and she lays with Adam, and then Adam lays his seed inside her. And so this is where the two, they say that there were two bloodlines that come from the Garden of Eden. You've got the bloodline from Eve and Adam, and the bloodline from Eve and the serpent. Okay, so if you remember in the Bible, you have Cain and Abel. So Abel is the good son that God loves. He's very
wait, Abel is or Cain is?
Abel is. Abel is the good son. Cain is the bad son. And the way that it worked out was that, you know, they have these jobs. They're supposed to bring a harvest and show this as worship to God, the bounty of their harvest. And Abel lays before God this everything that he had worked for in that season, and God found it pleasing. And then you have Cain, who didn't work very hard, but he still has to make an offering to God. So he just kind of like gathers up. Cain
was busy ascending.
I did, exactly.
Reading the secret, using law of attraction to get his crops to grow. He was trying to manifest it.
So he lays out this bounty, which isn't even a bounty. It's whatever he could find along his way to this altar or whatever to God.
Sure.
And God,
I'm sure. So God knowledge gained along the way.
No. So God was displeased in Cain, and then, but then God, found Abel's bounty as pleasing. And so it created this jealousy between the brothers, and Cain was upset. So Cain murdered Abel. So therefore,
what the fuck?
Yeah. So that was the first murder. Yes, I'm serious. It's the first murder that's accounted for in the Bible, and it happens in Genesis. It happens very early on in Genesis.
Who are these people that murder their brothers?
Reptilians. Okay, I'm not saying.
New Age reptilian.
Yeah, I'm not saying that this story is true. I'm not. I think it's absurd. I think it's absolutely absurd. I personally think it's the most absurd thing I've heard.
I feel like this could be triggering to some, that the Bible's a lot of metaphors. So maybe it's a metaphor for something. That story was needed to evoke the concept or the thinking.
Yeah, it's an allegory. But here's the thing, is that the people that go out and they perpetuate the idea of the serpent seed doctrine, that there are two bloodlines. There's the pure bloodline from Adam and Eve, and then there's the defiled reptilian bloodline from the serpent and Eve. The people that go around pushing that idea are the white supremacists, the American Nazis, the Aryan Brotherhood. So
okay, I see.
Yeah,
that's why I don't like this story.
Exactly. So they really believe that there is this superior bloodline.
This is like eugenics people.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so Kevin Kline, his wife. His ex-wife, Melinda, aka Kevin Kline template. No, I have a British accent. I used to live in London, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to college in Regent's Park. Wow. It was all around the Royals. Oh man, I just saw a flash of that little boy dangling outside of Buckingham Palace. Have you ever seen that?
You think that was real? Yeah, you think that was real?
I wonder how much of Fall Cabal is real, because Fall Cabal, that's where I saw it, was on Fall Cabal. Anybody doesn't know, Fall Cabal is a fascinating, very, it's kind of like a Q, it feels Q-y when I think about it. Like in the same way that Q talks about a lot of this stuff that's going on. Then the same with the Singerson Lockwood. Again, the same old story, same old dance. They're just renaming it and showing you the same old stuff you already knew, or maybe you're learning it and they're showing it. Again, this could be their magic, but I don't know. Yeah. As I said what I had to say there, I just forgot the rest of my thought. So
I know.
Are we good? I'm good to keep going. Are you good to keep going for a while longer?
I am, because we haven't even touched.
I know.
Okay.
This is the big show for me. I literally been waiting, so excited, you guys, to have this conversation.
Your long form format, like what's his name? Oh my gosh, why can't I think?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not supposed to be said. It's not supposed to be said. Back to the whatever we were
Joe
talking about.
Rogan. Oh my gosh.
Rogan.
Uh,
Rogan. Psyop guy. But again, he's doing good stuff, but he's big.
Controlled
Who
opposition.
ya? I've never listened to one of his podcasts before, ever.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
There's you know what else I did? I bought a subscription to Gaia TV a year ago. Never once did I watch a thing on it. Never once. It's
Did you
weird, right?
cancel it? If you
I
haven't
did cancel
canceled
it
it yet,
finally. I know I canceled it.
okay. I was going to say, if you have not canceled it, there is a really good documentary that has Alanis Morissette, and it's about, I think it's called Sensitive. And so it's people that there's actually an emotional condition called highly sensitive.
Oh yeah, there's a book for highly sensitive people. Have you heard of this? I
Yeah,
think it's very new age.
it probably is. But
It's
this was a
no. It has
really,
to be because I learned
yeah.
about this from this new age group that I fell into, and this girl
Oh,
was a guide for highly sensitive people and all this stuff. And then I learned about highly sensitive, and I was like, oh, I'm a highly sensitive. I think this is it, girl. Okay, you talked about a net earlier.
yeah.
They figure out who's awake. They do it with Q. They do it with New Age, whatever. Excuse me, just burping, guys. And I actually
It's,
went to
let it go.
burp. I went to burp. I know. I went to burp away from the mic, and then I brought it to the mic, hoping to get the last tail end of the sound of the burp on the mic. So I'm not. If you heard it, that was for you. I did that for everyone. Someone's got to be the first one to not cover their fucking toxic energy leaving their mouth because they're ashamed. But anyways, highly sensitive people and all that, they round us up, they figure out who we are, and they interest us, and then they get us in these traps of following people, and we're doing idol worship again and looking for teachers and all that
Yes.
shit, looking outside of ourselves for the apples. And I just thought, how about them apples? And from evil hunting. Anyways, but and what happens is they net us, and we get
Yes.
stuck in these little traps. And you're in like the new age trap, or you're whatever trap it is, you're in the Q trap, whatever it is. Now they're feeding you your knowledge. And they're just feeding you in a different way. And they're like, you were smart and congratulations. You leveled up to where you're looking for Q stuff, or you're looking for knowledge in the new age, or you're looking into magic or whatever. You're leveled up. Good for you. But you showed them you leveled up. They caught on. They fucking trapped you somewhere else. And now you're going to have to break those chains again
Okay, so that brings up a
to
good point.
level up and ascend a little more to you don't know where.
There's no such thing as just one matrix. There's multiple matrices. It's a trap of the mind. So once you break free, like I'm breaking free of the new age matrix. Well, what's going to catch me? Is it going to be a hyper charismatic Christian church that's going to catch me and I'm going to get stuck in that matrix? It's one web after another web after another web. You are never going to escape all of them. Where are you going to go? And the other thing I want to say is like people that are obsessed with extraterrestrials and stuff like that, like you want to bounce off of this earth and go be with your star family. But in the same breath, you're going to tell me that you came here and incarnated in this human body to be here, to be part of the plan, and to, wage this spiritual war. Pick a side because you're telling me two contradictory things. Are you here to be a part of this mission? Or are you going to go and jump on a ship and go be with your star family? You can't do both of them.
No, totally. I love that you're saying this. And I remember hearing somebody who talks about this kinds of stuff. And we've already mentioned her multiple times. With April was talking about how, I mean, I'm not trying to dog on her. I really think she's a wonderful person. She's got lots of great things to say and all that. She's an example. Okay. She was talking
Even
about,
even Lucifer will convince you that he's an angel of light. But
oh, girl,
I'm not saying I'm
if you're
not
still
saying
listening, anybody still listening is all right with what we've said. They're still here. So what
yeah.
I want to say though is I heard her talking about how her star family once and how she really missed this certain gray star family or something like that, and it kind of made her Earth mom jealous. And I remember feeling sad for her Earth mom. I'm like, that's your mom right
Yeah.
now, like while we're here, but you sit around talking about your alien family that you love so much and miss around your Earth mom, like I
That's
don't know.
mean.
Yeah, like, and the fucked up thing, girl, that I deal with, a little thing that I've been dealing with, when as I've been breaking my chains right now and getting myself into some new chains. I get myself a gold chain, I guess. But my cat has a gold chain, by the way. Is his collar? Is this like plastic gold chain that he wears? Anyways, back to what I was saying though, is this dilemma, this not dilemma, this thing though. I have seen grays. I saw my friend's head turn into a gray once when she was getting upgraded by them. We're on psychedelics. Like I saw that light body of a gray. That's real. That it's magic, obviously magic involved. ETs. I've seen Lyrans. I've seen a lot of these in ET beings, and I've communicated with them. And not that I ever channeled them. Never fucking once did I channel them. I don't do that. I don't do that. They've caught that. This came to me because I did a lot of psychedelics, guys, and I accidentally got to the point where I was like receiving upgrades and shit. This is real, okay? But you got to be fucking careful because. I'm not saying don't do it. I only benefited my life. I'm here to stand strong and say like there's good energies out there is an easier word for me than beings because that would be like I don't think they're these physical beings. I've never seen that. It was always energy frequency and like psychic like connection and seeing. It was always psychic, very 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 deep psychic abilities that communicated with these things, which is all very magic, all magic area, all that. But the thing is you have someone like Elizabeth April who's talking about missing her star family and all this shit, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, it just feels weird, right? Like, but at the same time, I know they're spinning this stuff. Am I making sense?
They want, yes,
because it's real. This stuff is real.
But I feel like they're fishing for desperate people that feel like they don't belong here. Those are the people that gravitate towards those groups. That, okay, yeah, what you're saying makes perfect sense to me. I was an awkward child personally. Like I had a lot of friends, but I never felt like I fit in anywhere. Do I think it's because I'm an extraterrestrial in a human body? No, I don't think that. But I think that a lot of people will desperately grasp onto that idea thinking, oh, that makes perfect sense to me because nothing else makes sense to me.
I grasped on that idea a little bit after because I I didn't believe in anything alien at all until I had this experience where I astral projected and had this whole thing where this experience where I started actually having contact with these beings and but then it wow, I feel like the thought just went right from my what did you just say? Oh my God. Are we being psychically attacked right now? No.
We were talking about gravitating towards the idea about not belonging.
Not belonging. And so I learned about this stuff. And then I walked in my house that night after doing mushrooms and astral projecting on what felt like a ship. And I don't really believe in UFOs as we think at all. I just think it's all about energy. So it was an astral projection in the mind. But I come in my house and I tell my boyfriend, I was like, dude, I contacted aliens tonight. Like, like it happened. Like they're real. Aliens are real. I just kind of walk in. I'm like, yeah, aliens are real, man. And he just looks at me, you fucking like, go away. Like, what do you just did mushrooms? Go away. You do these weird things all the time. Like, whatever. But I didn't have anywhere to go, and I did. You're talking about desperate people. Well, I was a little desperate to find someone to fucking talk to about this. And I found Elizabeth April, and I don't know how. And it was just like, I do remember kind of starting to feel like, oh, I think we are like the aliens here. But I just think we're humans, actually, like souls in these bodies. I don't think we have to say we're alien. I was channeling for people and being like, oh, yeah, you're probably Pleiadian and all this stuff, because I would feel these characteristics about them. And I actually have seen Lyrans, the cat faces and all that, but is that a Lyran? I don't know for certain. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot.
We're all vulnerable in some way. Every single one of us, even the strongest person has a vulnerability. And so for some of us, it is, we're just looking for that thing that makes us feel like we belong, like that sense of community where we're surrounded by people that think and look like us or that talk like this, or it's just part of the brokenness in so many of us.
Yeah. We're so vulnerable because we're looking to share and connect with people. And then that's why I feel like these new age pedestals that show up all of a sudden, it's so weird because I can't even tell you like how like some of these people that I had been following and listening to, I don't even remember how some of them showed up on my algorithm. And that every, like, I don't know. And it's just, but they net you up and they put you into this new age thing, and you start doing these practices and you don't even know the history behind them.
You don't know where it came from.
You don't know what the moon is, guys. We can't fucking prove what the moon is. I know that it's... Go ahead.
I, I have to tell
Yeah.
you something really funny. Okay, so I used to have this beautiful, well, I still have it, this beautiful Ganesh medallion. And I worked in a coffee shop a few years ago in a very affluent area here where I live. And I'm talking like multi-million dollar mansions where like John Madden, the football guy lives, and tons of elite
Yeah,
CEOs
big
from.
tech is around there too, right? I mean, same.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So CEOs, the vice president of Western Digital lived in this neighborhood and would come into my store every day, like really big, rich people. Some of the people that live there that are like the most rich, affluent families are people from tech that are from India. So I have this Ganesh necklace on, and this customer of mine comes in and he's looking at it and he's like, gives me this weird look. He's like, "Is that a Ganesh?" I said, "Yeah, it is." And he's like, "Why are you wearing a Ganesh necklace?" And I said, "Oh, because he's the god that helps you remove obstacles from your life. And I have a lot of obstacles. So, like, I need his help." And he just like shook his head at me and just gave me the most sarcastic little laugh. Like, the fucking absurdity of you Westerners coming
Wow.
in and taking on
Yeah.
like and it stuck with me for a while, but I'm like, I like Ganesh, and I carried a Ganesh statue in my purse for 12 years
And
everywhere I went.
what happened
It
to it? Do you want to talk
uh
about that?
should we talk
Let's do
about
it.
that?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Tell everybody what
Okay.
happened to your statues, and if you need to lead into it, lead into it.
So
Take your time
I
on this.
really started I
Secrets exposing.
I started looking around and observing that I fell into a trap in which I never considered looking at the the reason why I was attracted to these things. So Ganesh is like the perfect example because at one point somebody at a yoga studio talked about Ganesh, and I'm like, oh yes, that's the person I need in my life. That's who I need to pray to every day and who I need to idolize. And I immediately went out and found my first Ganesh statue. And it never occurred to me that this is a god in a Hinduism religion. And I don't know anything about Hinduism. So am I culturally appropriating Hinduism?
Ooh.
Okay.
How new
And
age.
yeah, I mean, if I were to walk into a yoga studio with my hair in braids and with Aztec print all over me, people would be pissed. Like, you are culturally appropriating Native American tradition, and how dare you? Because that's how people are here. You can't wear your hair in braids here because people will freaking it's absurd. But they're perfectly okay with me walking in wearing a Buddha shirt and an Om medallion, and that's okay. Like, do you guys not see the hypocrisy? So I just started realizing that, like, I don't know anything about Hinduism. I do know that according to the Bible, idolatry is an abomination towards God. We have a jealous God according to the Bible. And I'm not like a Bible scholar. I've never studied the Bible. I've just recently started learning the Bible really for the first time in my life, and
Isn't that weird? It's this
thinking,
really popular book. It's same with me, and like it's again. I don't say it's the end all, but it's just like it's this really fucking popular book, and none of us had been even reading it. It's
it's
just
the
like
most controversial book on the planet,
yeah, and don't you? I mean, even
if you
it's just
think about it.
yeah,
And they make sure that we know that. We know you're not supposed to talk about religion and politics when you go to
right.
places. Well, why not? Why is it so controversial? They want us to turn our backs on these things, but why is my question. So I don't know if the Bible holds all of the truths. I don't know if the Bible is the be all end all of a righteous life, but do I want to be wrong? Do I want to be wrong about it by saying it's nonsense?
Well,
I
why
don't
can't we just
know.
consider? Why can't we? I look at it as like I want to learn as much as I can. So why hadn't? And it's
Yeah.
just weird when we didn't consider something. Like I was all about learning about astrology and all of this all of a sudden, but nah, I'm not gonna look at that Bible or nah, like that New Earth and the Bible. Nah. And again, I'm not saying it's the end all. It's just like why not include it in is interesting. And
Yeah.
it's like looking at your triggers and your hotspots but there is so much programming around the Bible because of religion, and I am not down with religion personally because I feel like it's this group again like crutch kind of you need it's this group like security and you're again looking outside of yourself and you're worshiping things you don't even really know the truth about, that maybe these things were created so they could control narratives, just like they created the feminists to control narratives, just like they
Yeah.
created Black Lives Matter to control narratives, just like they created veganism to control narratives. I can go on fashion, hair color, every fucking way that even you like big boobs, you have people with removed ribs, like you think that's what you're like and you're attracted to people, but like the Kardashian look is what I'm describing because they
Yeah.
remove their ribs and do things that are unattainable. We're programmed and controlled. Even they've taken God and made you think you have to be part of a religion and you have to be baptized to be with God. And I just don't jive with that because it's absolutes. And I just really think that religion, if you look at, and I want to do more looking into this, but I do think that people are being controlled, like agendas. Like there's good and bad to everything, but I do think they're pushing agendas through these groups.
Yes,
False, yeah.
I totally agree.
It's a little
And
rant.
no, well, and it's interesting that you bring it up because when I look at all of this secret society and secret knowledge and esoteric teachings and all that kind of stuff, it's just us taking bits and pieces. It's one human being that decided to take bits and pieces of these little things like Hinduism. They took so many things from Hinduism and just took little bite-sized morsels and turned it into this whole new thought
Like the
process.
Beatles, like what they went off they went off real quick. What
Yes.
George Harrison went off to India for a little bit and comes back, and all of a sudden they're doing
And
all
now they're
that
doing
shit. The six
and
six
now
six
they're doing
I
transcendental meditation with the
right.
Maharishi, and then their music changed,
Yeah, and psychedelics.
their
I don't know.
image
I
changed.
even question psychedelics too. Like, of course, I want to question everything. And the stuff I've seen, I want to be like, well, why did I see these things on the psychedelics? Is it part of the magic of the psychedelic? Again, is this like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, when did those become popular?
Yeah, and I think it's a psyop as far as like the making psychedelics easily attainable and then making them illegal. And then now all of a sudden they're starting to make like psilocybin here in Oakland is decriminalized. It
Good.
might even be
It grows in
legalized. I
cow
don't know.
shit. It grows in cow shit. I gonna arrest a bunch of cows?
Well, do you think it's odd? Why would they? So they would take it off the market and tell you this is illegal for 40 years, and then all of a sudden it's okay for you to start doing it again?
Yeah, I don't know.
That
Well,
I question that.
but that also could be the world moving in the right direction where people are waking up and there's more pull that's getting it out there. But I have experienced massive healing on mushrooms. So I talk about this in my book tons, like just the massive healing on mushrooms. And like, so I don't feel that mushrooms, I'm happy to hear that they're legalizing it but what kind of mushrooms are they selling then? You know what I mean? Like, I kind of think that
Yeah,
the legalization of weed, well, now I've heard there's strains like GMO cookies out there. That's genetically modified. Like,
exactly.
I'm just saying, once they get their hands on things, just like they did with the New Age and just like they're doing with mushrooms, all that, you're probably better off to find some mushrooms from cow shit than to go to where you can legally buy them and you don't know who created it. Again, this is that where you look back to the root. We keep talking about this root thing. What's the root of
Hmm.
that mushroom? Who created it? Is it poisoned? Is it a bad mushroom? Because they're all different strains. Again, look at the Hindu stuff you're doing. Look at the New Age stuff you're doing. The moon rituals. What's the root of it? That's all. I feel that the most important thing of everything that we've been bringing up is that let's look at the root of this. Where did this start from? And who's going to discover the root? You are, because only one person can pull that out and really experience that, right?
Right, exactly. And that's yeah, I don't know. I question everything these days. I see there's deceit and lies in pretty much everything around us. And, am I going to
Yeah, we're
go
lying to
searching for the
ourselves
truth?
even. We're even lying to
Yeah,
ourselves too. People who can't be honest with themselves. And then how could you even be honest with the world? So what happened with your Ganesh statue? You didn't finish that. I'm not gonna let you not
Okay,
say
so
this. This
I
is what
just,
triggered me. This is what everybody. This
I
is what
know.
really triggered me the other day.
It triggered her so much that she left me a voice message yesterday that
Okay,
I'm like,
go. Yeah.
I hope we can still be friends.
Well, okay. Tell them
Okay.
what you did. Tell them what you did.
Okay, so Saturday I did this. I've been wanting to do it for a couple of days. The thing that really this sounds so stupid.
Yeah, tell them
The
about the
reason,
first time you talked about doing two before you actually tell them if you did it. Because I responded the first time, and I want to say my response. Remember, because I was pretty moved.
okay,
Go ahead.
I decided. I was listening to this podcast about cults, and there is a woman. There's a lot of ex New Age people that they interview on this podcast, and there was this
What's
woman
the
who had
podcast?
been. It's called Cultish, and
Love it.
it's so good. I do want to warn people that it is done by a couple of Christian pastors. So
Some people
they,
might really like that. That might be an
yeah,
invite to others. Not
right. And I appreciate it just because of the fact that they're looking at how these cults come to be and how they form and their thought processes and what they teach their followers. They're looking at it from a biblical standpoint. So they're using the Bible as their point of reference for what's acceptable and
which
what's
would make
not.
Christian listeners very happy. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, so I find it interesting personally. So they have a lot of these New Age people, like ex New Age people, that walk away from the New Age and then go back
It's
into
weird. There's a lot
Christian.
of people walking away from the New Age right now. It's really
There
interesting.
is, but it's not okay.
I mean, it's trendy, but it also is like, it's
Right.
that
Is
flame
this the
though.
new trend?
Right, but also, I don't think people start speaking up about what's going on. Then you hear it, like people are going to hear this, and they're going to go to the roots of what they're looking at and decide, am I? I think that's all. It's just because I think it could be trendy, but is that a bad thing? I don't know if it's always a bad thing.
Yeah, and I only put a footnote here for some people because um, a lot of these people are walking away from the New Age and they're walking back to church. Well, the church is infiltrated. Okay, there are 45,000 branches of Christian churches. Why? Why is there? Because you have this charismatic leader that comes onto the scene that says, I know Christianity better than this Catholic pastor, so I'm going to go and create this new way to deliver the message. But the thing is, they're not following scripture. They're manipulating it. They're cherry picking. So Jim Jones, who was from Jonestown, the People's Temple, which is the place in 1978 where they drank the Kool-Aid, right? It is a cult where they drank the Kool-Aid and they committed what he calls a revolutionary suicide. He presented himself as a preacher of the gospel, but he was not Christian. He was actually a Marxist, socialist, communist. And he is actually on record saying, the only way I can push my Marxist, socialist agenda is if I infiltrate the church. And so
this is exactly what I'm talking about when I was trying to say earlier, is that's be careful when you're keep going.
Yes. Okay. So there are a lot of like hyper charismatic churches out there that seem like really big and fun and hip and modern. And it draws in, especially millennials, it draws them in because they're like, yeah, I can go and watch this rock band and learn about gospel at the same time. But it's really not, they take, like I said, they cherry pick. They cherry pick things from the Bible and they tell you certain things and they take things completely out of context. And so it gets you believing that certain things were okay because you were taught this gospel out of context. So that's my worry because I've watched some people walk away from the New Age. Like there's one I sent you, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't say
Yesterday
her name,
on her, I'm not going to say her name. I don't even know why
like,
I
after
follow
I
this
already
person.
I've said too much.
I didn't.
So whatever you say.
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't even like this person's message when she was in the New Age, and I really don't like her message now that she's in this like she's in this apologia type Christian setting, but the Bible version that she's reading is this modernized version of the Bible, and she's going to this hyper charismatic church. And yesterday she was at church and she was filming it, and she was filming all these people that are being baptized by the fire of the Spirit, and they're speaking in tongues and they're going into convulsions and they're falling on the floor and they're lifeless and they're death by the fire of the Spirit is what they call it. That's not Christian.
That's the whole tongues
That's
thing's weird. That's
all
the snake
I
language, right?
yeah,
That's how
and
snakes speak, is with the fucking tongue out.
with the
You know
tongues.
that? Like they go like, eh. I mean, seriously, that's how I had his pet snake when I was younger for 12 years. Shanae. I had a ball python.
That's
I
right.
got her when I was 12. Yeah, for my birthday. That's what I wanted. I'm not afraid of snakes. I don't think all snakes are bad. Just because Satan was shown up as a snake, he's not going to take snake from me. I like snakes, but that's
he what he
tongues.
but
I know
yeah,
he's deceiving and all that, but I love my snakes. I'm not going to discount
no,
all
I'm
snakes
not
because of
saying
that.
there's anything
Yeah.
wrong with it. So the speaking in tongues is actually something that happened in the Bible to the disciples when the Holy Spirit came to speak to them and put the flaming lips on them, and they started speaking in
Whoa, wait,
tongues.
what?
Not
The
flaming
flaming?
lips, like
No, but that's a band.
the flames.
Flaming
Yeah, I
Lips. I
know.
love the Flaming Lips.
I love the
I'm
flame.
sure they're all in on it. But you just said Flaming Lips. I was like,
Is
this is
it
what Flaming Lips means.
is it Vaseline? No, is that the name of it?
Vaseline. They have a song called
Yeah,
Vaseline. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I love
Oh,
that
but
song.
they've got
Okay,
so many good songs. Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, and there's a there was the one that's like, I don't know, man. They're probably new age. Keep going though. We haven't
no,
talked. You didn't still haven't told the listeners about
we
Ganesh, but we will get to it.
okay. I know. So,
Well, I gotta end the
uh,
episode probably when you finally say what's happening with
okay,
what
that
happened
yeah,
to
because
Ganesh.
people will be triggered and they're gonna need to go sit in
Yep,
their trigger.
it triggered me. It's the thing that triggered me, so it's gonna trigger. I'm just gonna,
Okay, so I yeah. So
triggers. We're all growing from this episode.
so the way that I okay, anyways, that lady on Instagram yesterday, she was just trading in the demonic possession from the new age to a demonic
Yeah, it's
possession
one
from a
cult to the other.
charismatic.
It's like
Yeah.
you trade in one cult membership right for another. It's like you didn't,
Yeah.
and you know what it's like. Having a long term, like a relationship end and going right into another one, and you never have
That's
that
exactly the
alone
same.
time in the middle
Yeah.
that's necessary. Same thing about sitting with any kind of medicine and never integrating it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And so she posts this thing of all these people in convulsions, and she's like, this is what happens when you let the demons leave your body. I'm like, oh no, sister, that's a demon entering that body. And the fact that you cannot see the difference is terrifying. So I am really afraid of this, this mass exodus from New Age over into these hyper charismatic churches
Yeah, I
because it's the
know.
same thing.
I
It's the
think
same thing. It's just
how can
in a
you,
different.
and some of these people are like talking about the Bible like so well. I'm like, how did you just learn this? Because I started kind of looking at the Bible too and reading the Bible and getting my first Bible, but I only know a few things because I'm still living my life. I haven't literally stopped everything to read the Bible in 10 days and then feel like I know it so well I can teach it. But I think the sleeper cells are waking up. I do. I think some of these people are
Ooh.
sleeper cells and they're waking up. I think the missionaries used to go around by foot and all that and do their thing, and now they do it online, where you have like some new age account really big and like they get a big following, and all of a sudden they have a come to Jesus and or something really really. And I had to come to Jesus, but not in the way that I'm seeing other people. It's weird. I just seem to be so weird out there on my own, I guess. It's fine. That's just me. I want to talk about everything. But I just said that. But then all of a sudden they switch and they start really the idol worships happen, and they have these vulnerable minds, and now they're doing all these things like, and they're the answer for everybody, and everybody starts switching around them. That you see like clockwork, all these people suddenly switching around
Yeah.
them.
It's so
And it's, how do you
weird.
suddenly want to get that fast? You want to get baptized that you took? It seems like a big decision to me. And all the or just, and I'm not judging. I'm sure I'm not judging. I'm observing. I'm just thinking it's like what's a sleeper cell? I think a sleeper cell is when, because programming is a big deal. And I talked about this with Eyes on the Right on the other episode where I said, well, what if like we went on field trips as kids and had MK Ultra done and we don't even remember it. Like they took us on a field trip,
Mm.
but we didn't really go to the zoo. They've implanted, I mean, they've shown, we don't know what's going on. We really don't. But what if even long-term programming was done on some people and they don't know it, where they were to one day, like some command goes off and maybe it's a frequency, I don't know, 5G. I don't know, but and all of a sudden they wake up or they have the shift, and maybe that's even, maybe I'm a sleeper cell and my awakening was a sleeper cell activation. I don't know, maybe there's good sleeper cells that come out, but I definitely am a little suspicious of some of the stuff I see going on.
I am too. But I will say, so I traded in my morning routine, which used to be, yoga, sun salutations in my backyard as the sun was rising. Every single morning, I did that. Um, I traded it in for stretching, a little bit of like Pilates movements, and listening to scripture. And there's a podcast called The Bible in the Year. So, and I'm only bringing that up because I'm only on day 22. We're still in Genesis. And listening to the way that they read the Bible and they explain what's going on, I feel like I understand the Bible. That
I love that.
small
I might
portion,
listen to that. What is it called? The Bible in a Year?
the Bible in a Year.
The
I
podcast?
will,
Or
it's a
it's a
podcast
uh
and it's very short. It's like each episode's like 20 minutes long. So they read, a chapter from Genesis. Right now they're reading a chapter from Job and a chapter from
See,
Proverbs.
I want to
It's
know everything because there's so much amazing stuff in the Bible, and people talk about this stuff. People reference the Bible all the time, so
all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a language to learn, like astrology
And I
too. I like same way I love astrology too. It's a language to learn.
yeah. So it's interesting to me. And I find it interesting. I've attended a Catholic church very regularly for 8 years. And in this 22 days of listening to this podcast, I feel like I know the Bible more intimately than in the 8 years I've been
Wow.
going to that church. And my husband, like Saturday morning, I come inside from doing my stretching and I'm listening and I'm like, honey, do you know what story we're on right now? And he goes, what? I'm like, Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And he starts laughing at me because we went and saw that musical a couple of years ago that our friend that's a Catholic priest acted um, in that musical. I'm like, now
Dream
I know
come
the
true
actual story. Yeah. I'm like, I know the
for a
actual
Catholic priest.
story
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
it's a,
it was a story in the Bible till you just said that. So I just
yeah, and
learned
it's
something.
it's
Yeah.
such a great story. And so listening, so the person that does the podcast is a Catholic priest. So, I take that with a grain of salt because he's reading from um, a Catholic version of the Bible. And so if you were to pick up a King James and follow along, it's going to sound completely different than the version
Interesting,
he's reading
huh?
from.
See, there you go. You have to
Yeah.
go, and they're both called the Bible.
Right, but we have to remember. Okay, so
I'm just saying
um
there's different versions even in that, but people say Bible and then
exactly.
they could be talking about a different translation. I'm just saying lost in
Precisely.
translation. Yeah, always
Precisely.
exists.
And that's why, like, if you were to Google Matthew 18:12,
Wait, is this part
then
of Babel? Maybe this is part. Sorry, go ahead.
okay.
Okay, wait. Tower of
Yeah, go ahead.
Babel, you know all the languages split?
Yeah,
Maybe
Tower of
part of
Babel
Tower
is,
of Babel is also how there's so many versions of the Bible and so many versions of Christianity to confuse people even further.
I think so. I think so. And I think that its egos get in the way too. You have this person that thinks that I'm now the prophet of God. He spoke to me here in the year of 2021. He spoke to me and told me that it's my prophecy to go out into the world and teach the Bible in this particular way. When we know for a fact that's
Yeah.
that's a bullshit ego thing, right? So I think that's where the 45,000 different versions of Christianity came from, and it's definitely infiltrated, and it's
Okay.
definitely the waters are dirtied. But before the King James version of the Bible, okay, so the Old Testament is the original Hebrew Bible, so the Torah, and then you have the New Testament, which is what tells of Jesus, like the whole and the apostles and all that kind of stuff. So the Hebrew Bible was written in Hebrew. The New Testament was written in Greek. It wasn't up until King James that we even had an English version of the Bible. So if you didn't read in Hebrew and you didn't read in Greek, you had no access to this Bible at all. You couldn't have access to the knowledge. It was like it was the hidden, forbidden knowledge.
Ooh,
And
well,
right.
well, well. What a
Well, we've come
deception.
full circle.
What a deception that would be.
Yeah, and before the King James Bible was commissioned to be translated into English, it was heresy. It was heresy that would get you killed if you tried to translate a Bible.
Yeah.
They would burn you at the stake if you
Wow.
were caught translating the Bible.
This
It's
is just
it's
it's there's
crazy.
so much it's just crazy when you yeah, when you look back at all of the this is yeah. I heard that if you were a follower of Christ too, and you approached another when it was illegal, essentially to be Christian, you had to like draw half a fish in the dirt, and then the other person would draw the other half, and that's how you'd know they were a follower of Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, anything that Christianity, I guess, was being censored, so it's definitely worth looking at, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even though it's a book, it's very easy to come. I mean, you can download a digital Bible onto,
Although
but
no,
don't
just they
because
hand them out for free. And I remember all the free Bibles I would get. Just God, I would throw them away. Horrible.
If you get your hands on a physical Bible, keep it, because everything's going digital. And what are they going to do then? Then they can manipulate the hell out of it, right? They can start deleting chapters.
It's okay. You can always tap into the collective consciousness for the truth. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's finish with your story of what happened with Ganesh.
Okay, we'll do that. And then I'm going to have to come back on because we never talked about Alice Bailey and the Babylon workings and the rise of the Antichrist.
Do you want to get into it? I probably have 30 more minutes, and then but you tell me what you want to get into right now. It's your time.
Can't decide. Okay, I think this is important. Okay.
Oh, look what I'm doing, I'm doing the 666s with my hand. I do them all the time. I don't know what. I know.
I think tying in the Alice Bailey, and we already talked about Hitler. So Alice Bailey was a student of Helena Blavatsky. So Alice Bailey, she's quoted saying, "The Masonic movement is the custodian of the law. It is a far more occult organization than can be realized, and is intended to be the training school for the coming advanced occultists." The Freemasons is what she's talking about. Okay. So she was married to a Freemason. Her husband was a 33rd degree Freemason. And in 1940, she established this, the plan, as she calls it, and she drew it out amongst.
Term.
Very.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. So that's all she called it. And then in order to piece it together, you'd like have to read all of her books, and all of her books were channeled from ascended masters.
Of course.
Okay. Which are probably demons. But
all of them.
There's no way to know.
All of them.
The ones that she's channeling.
Right.
Let me clarify.
Well, she was a Helena person. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, she was a Theosophist. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so she writes all these books. This is in like 1940, and it really is ushering in the New Age, which is really the New World Order. So it's coming down. It's destroying Christianity.
New. I mean, God, they have both of the word new. I'm just saying.
I know, we're such suckers. So they want to eliminate Christianity. They want to eliminate Judaism. They want to bring everyone to this one world religion, this one world government. This is 1940 when she started writing these books.
This does not surprise me.
So
they rolled it. Yeah, 47 was her, because that's the Aleister Crowley number.
Yeah, so there was a 10-part plan a 10-part process to her plan, and I don't have the notes, but if anyone wants to find me on Instagram, I would be glad to take a screenshot and send it to them.
Yeah, what's your? Well, I'll have it on. I'll have all this information, you guys, on the notes of the episode.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But you can say it right now too, if you want.
I mean, I don't. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have the 10 written down, but I do remember, taking religion out of schools.
Oh, I've seen these before a few times.
Breaking down the family unit.
Yeah. I can't believe she actually said that.
Yeah. And you have to go digging through. You have to go digging through her books in order.
But this is the shit they've been doing. And when you look at these 10, it's happening.
Yeah. Well, it's real scary, because then she also had a huge influence on the UN, the United Nations.
Oh, which is corrupt as fuck.
Right. So they have this, her website is called Lucy's Trust, which used to be Lucifer. Yeah, it's short for Lucifer.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
We need to look up when they introduced that song. Was it before the Maharishi or after the Maharishi?
I'm sure it was after.
Okay.
I'm sure.
We'll
I don't know, but that's we're going to look at it. Yeah, we'll look it up after.
Okay. Okay. So she had she comes up with this plan. She's working with the UN in the 1940s. Now, let's think about all the things that's happened since the 1940s. They want to usher in their Messiah. We have to remember their Messiah is the Antichrist. It is Lucifer.
Right.
Okay. So these are the things that started to happen after 1940. Well, we had World War II, obviously. I mean, it started in 1939 and went to 1945. We know all of the horrific things that happened during World War II and the Nazis
and the
in
Project
Germany.
Paperclip, where the Nazis, even though they lost, just came over here to. They had jobs and offices waiting for them with.
Like Werner von Braun. I have a story for you for that. Okay. This is weird. So in 1945, FDR, who was the president, he died April 12th. Mussolini was then killed on April 28th, and then Hitler committed suicide May 1st. These are the world leaders. These are world leaders that are key figures in World War II that all died.
I never knew they died
within 3 weeks of each other. It's weird. So I feel like it was a ritual.
Absolutely. And the springtime,
right.
They do a lot of this. The spring with the chickens, the chicken symbolism.
Exactly.
Celebrities, they don't all have chickens, you guys. Come on.
No, that's a code word.
It's not what it means to them.
They dropped the first atomic bomb in 1945.
Which Oppenheimer regrets creating the bomb. Well, guess who else regrets their creation? The doctor who made the mRNA vaccine.
Yeah.
He speaks out against it. He regrets it like Oppenheimer regrets his killing machine.
Yeah. So you brought up the Dead Sea Scrolls. So they were found sometime in 1946, 1947
that's just suspicious.
in the cave.
This is why people
it is very
question
suspicious.
the Enoch and stuff. I see that story that they would maybe they're placing that.
Okay, so the Nag Hammadi Library. This is the Gnostic Gospels. This was a collection of Christian and Gnostic texts that were discovered near Egypt in a cave in 1945.
Was this the Ark of the Covenant?
No. Okay. So this would have been where they, like chapters of the Bible that were omitted, like the Gospel of Thomas, the Sophia of Jesus Christ. And here's a theory about it.
Why don't they put that shit back in, guys? That's what I don't understand. If they know all the stuff is missing from the Bible, why don't we put it back in?
It was taken out for a reason under Constantine and the Council of Nicaea. All these religious leaders met and they decided what was going to go in the Bible, what wasn't going to go in there. And it was based on, could they prove that these portions of the Bible were written, as they call the breath of God, or God breathed. So it was directly a message from God. And they say that like the Gospel of Thomas wasn't that way, and that Enoch and all these books were not proven. So here's a theory about how these texts ended up in this cave in Egypt, the texts that were discovered in 1945. There was a monastery just outside of this town where these were found. And the saint of whoever, and Athanasius, I'm not sure how you say it, he condemned the use of all non-canon books from the library. So Gospel of Thomas and the Book of Enoch. So they were condemned. So if you had a Bible that had any of these chapters, you were supposed to remove these chapters and burn them, essentially. So people think that that someone from the monastery gathered up these pages and just hid them away in a cave. I just find it very strange that they weren't found until 1945.
I know. It's just, I don't trust it. I don't trust any of the shit that happened in that time. This is a new order rolling out, essentially. It is.
Yes. Okay. So then in 1946, we had this Alice Bailey. We have Alistair.
The Masons are the ones to have the magic and usher it in.
Yeah. So Aleister Crowley, in this time in the 1920s, he enters the scene and he comes up with Thelema, which is his church. Okay. So in his church, they are very satanic. They do black magic. They do sex magic. They're obsessed with the occult. Members of Thelema are Jack Parsons, which is the guy that worked for our government that basically created what we know as the rocket to take us into space. Okay.
This is interesting, and this ties to Disney too, right?
Yes, it
Kind of, and the
does.
Disney
Yeah.
videos, and the Nazis making the Disney videos.
Yeah. So Werner von Braun, who is part of Operation Paperclip, is someone who worked very closely with Jack Parsons. Okay, then you have L. Ron Hubbard, who is the guy that
The
created
Scientology guy, right?
Scientology. He was a science fiction writer. He became really good friends with Jack Parsons.
Funny
They teamed up.
science fiction writer creates a
Right.
religion. People don't see it.
I know. It's weird. So this is in 1946 is where we are at now. And these two, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard, they buddy up and they decide to take one of these rituals from Thelema, from Aleister Crowley's teachings, and they do what's called the Babylon working. This is a sex and black magic ritual that they did from January until March in 1946. And the idea of it is to draw in and manifest the
and observe. Manifest. It doesn't even
what's right in
mean
front of your
that. Isn't
face.
that funny that
I
manifest doesn't
know.
even mean what people think?
Yeah. So the idea of this was to invoke, um, oh my gosh, immaculate conception of the Antichrist.
And who was born?
And,
Who was born that
Donald
year?
Trump was born after that. I'm not saying.
I know we're not saying it, but we're just.
I'm not saying
This is
that.
a joke. This is a joke because we were joking about this in memos. She's like, you wouldn't believe who was born that year.
Yeah, it's just a funny coincidence.
Yeah.
It's a funny coincidence. Okay, so then in 1947, all of a sudden we have the rise in the UFO sightings after they did this Babylon working thing. So Roswell
many of these UFOs are actually also drones. Just want to say that. Unidentified flying object. But go ahead. Sorry.
Maybe the modern day ones, but why it was such a cluster in that time, a cluster of all these sightings.
They called
in
these interdimensional beings on these UFOs?
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they did. I think it all ties together. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But so it started with Hinduism, which was a very, very ancient religion. Like it's thousands and thousands of years old.
It predates Christianity, right?
Exactly. It sure does. So then from that, you branch off into Theosophy in 1975. Okay, from Theosophy, then it branches off into...
Wait, Hinduism branches into Theosophy?
Well, Theosophy took
from that.
theology.
Okay, I just want to make sure people didn't think that it just turned into that. Okay.
Yeah, no, Theosophy.
You had me thinking for a second.
Yeah, then you have the Arcane School, which was Alice Bailey's school. And from her...
The what school?
The Arcane School.
Arcane does not sound good to me. That word does not sound good or feel good to me.
Yeah, because Aleister Crowley uses that word. So then you have Aleister Crowley that came from this.
The vibration behind that word is really nasty. Like the intuitive feeling behind that word. I don't even know what it is. Oh my gosh, I think you're frozen. She's frozen, you guys. The arcane energy. Uh-oh.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you're back?
Okay,
good. Could you hear me? I was literally, we're talking about this scary energy. It says my internet connection's unstable, just flashed on my screen. Interesting. I know. So
that is interesting.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't talk about that. Isn't that weird? How I just felt that nasty energy too. And then that was the one I've never had you know what is weird too? I've never had that my internet is unstable flash up on my computer once.
That's really weird.
Ever. I've never seen that way.
They don't want us talking about this stuff.
No,
they don't want us piecing it.
God is on our side. We have Jesus with us.
Yes,
and
we Ganesh
is with me, but
not with me anymore.
I know. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay, no. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so I just...
Oh, and I would talk forever, but I have a live.
Oh, that's right. You do.
Freedom for Humanity in a little bit, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that we could talk about, and we'll have to just come back again because we barely scratched the surface.
I know. We will. No, you're absolutely gonna be back on for sure. But like we're at the 40s and all that, the UFOs. Go ahead and get us to now.
Yeah.
I'm like, go ahead and explain 70 years instantly.
Well, then we saw the rise of the cults. We saw the
Yeah.
rise of the Christian Science, of the Unity Christian Church, the Father Jehovah cult, the Father Divine cult, the Jim Jones cult, and then we saw Heaven's Gate, and then we saw Waco. It's one thing feeds off of another thing, and I mean, it would take me hours more to explain how they
Oh,
all tie
totally. Yeah.
together. And
But we can
you know,
see that you've explained the most important parts, which is the roots.
yes,
The
the
roots. This is what
roots.
people, because it's really when we discover things on our own, like, and we do that research, that's how we really learn it and we're really able to understand it. But when, like, so, but it's that the roots of the new age are literally like from this Alice Bailey, Helena woman. I never can say her name for some reason. I don't think I'm supposed to. And
Blavatsky, yeah.
Alistair, yeah, like these people, and it's just not their intention I don't believe was pure.
No, it's
Because they're
not.
working for the
And you
New
can
World
go,
Order.
yeah, if you go all the way back, you will see that there are ties to the New World Order and ushering in that whole thing, and then ties to Lucifer and to Satan. And are those things right or wrong? It's up to you to
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with it, and so that's why ultimately
Oh,
I have.
since I've learned this stuff from you, like I started cleaning out all, like, I mean, I just started cleaning my shit out even more. Like
Yeah,
my statues, like I don't know, I removed Isis because I found out she did necrophilia. I learned this story that, like, she was married to Osiris, I think, and Osiris's brother was jealous of him or something, so murdered him and then chopped him into 13 pieces. And as Isis was so heartbroken, she collected these pieces but couldn't find the 13th piece, which was his dick. And so she made
that's
this.
right.
So she made this pillar-looking thing, which is the shape crystals are in, and the monument, the
It's
Washington,
the obelisk,
the
right?
obelisk. Yeah, she made one, and she had sex with that necrophilia, and then she became pregnant with, guess what, baby Horus, which is that eye. And I just was like, oh man. And then I was like, people talk about how Lilith ate her babies, and it's okay because Lilith told me it was all right. And it's like, wait, she ate her babies. I don't know. Why are we worshiping? We just need to question, why are we into what we're
Exactly.
into? That's what we need to question. And I love, and I know, so I look at my Ganesh, because I have a Ganesh statue. I do. I got it once I joined the New Age stuff. And I got my statue, even though I never needed one to know who Ganesh was. Ganesh came to me, appeared, literally just fucking appeared, like literally. And I heard that you left me a memo, and you said, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna smash my Buddha and my Ganesh statue. And these are my two people. Buddha, I've seen Buddha too. Buddha and Ganesh are big. These are like guides to me. They never told me they were God. I never idol worshiped them at all. They just appeared to me and all this stuff. And so I left you a memo saying, girl, Ganesh really wants
So
me to tell you to wait, and that he just wants to make sure you aren't worshiping him. And I was like, kind of like all touchy. I'm like, this message is like really coming through for you, because honestly, I was feeling insecure about what you were doing, and you were triggering me, and I was just like projecting onto you. And then you get these messages from me, and then what do you do? What do you
I
ultimately
waited a
do?
few days. I waited a few days because, well, for a couple of reasons. Because for one, I couldn't get to my tool bench where my mallet was. I had to wait for my husband to come home from a trip to move his car so I could get there. So that was one of the reasons. And on Saturday, I was just really overcome with this desire to just really finally cut the chains. And in order for me personally, and I'm not telling this is anyone that this is the right thing for them to do, this was something symbolic for me that I felt I needed to do for myself. So I gathered up all my Buddhas, all my Ganeshas, and my mala beads that I used to meditate to. And I took a mallet and I smashed them all. I
New
smashed
age,
them
new
all.
rage.
Exactly. I put on some massive rage music while I did it, and I
Yeah.
was like, "You don't get to help
Bam! Yeah.
me!" Just
Well,
pounding,
yeah. I mean, it's
pounding on him. Like, yeah, and it was so cleansing for me. At the same time, there was a tiny bit of me that felt a little bit guilty because there is a Hindu family that lives in the house behind me, and I'm like, I'm not in any way trying to disrespect anyone, but I would explain to them if I had to. Listen, I had these, and I don't really know what they represent. And I'm not Hindu, and I've never studied Hinduism. So is it absurd for me to have these things? And I'm not
Well,
doing it to be disrespectful.
what if that guy from the coffee shop saw you smashing him now? Would he be like, oh,
He,
this girl coming out of the
I
new
would
age
love
now?
to know.
Because this is
I
the
would
thing.
love to know.
What if Ganesh and Buddha are the real victims here? Because they actually lived a
Oh,
life and had teachings, and they wanted, and I was reading up about Buddha and all this stuff, and they never wanted to be God. There's actually something, and I don't have it right in front of me, that I was reading that was like, how like somebody went to get Buddha once and was like, "Are you a god?" And he straight up said no. Like, and I just think, like, what if they're the real victims in this case of the New Age, because the New Age stole them, and
maybe,
these
yeah.
this Alice lady, this Helena, this Alistair, these New Age people, these reptilian, whatever they are, the Beatles, all these people that stole this sacred stuff, and then they put it in this deceiving New Age way, and they fucked with it, and now we have bad tastes about these people. But I mean, I've stayed solid with like Ganesh and Buddha. Personally, I'm not smashing mine, but what if they, get what I'm saying? Like, and I totally
Yes.
see how symbolic it was for you and powerful for you to do that, because you got deceived big time, and they were kind of part of that, like, for you.
Yeah, it's just like the same thing as okay, so the swastika was a divine symbol, and then the Nazis ruined that. So would I put a swastika up in my house? I
Right, there you go.
wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah. No,
wouldn't. So
good point.
I
Good
understand what
point.
you're saying.
Yeah.
So what those things embodied to me
Put a
was going down
swastika in
into,
your house.
yeah, I just wouldn't do it.
Like a big flag
So
out front. Yeah, no, you guys, the new age took this. This is a good thing. And now you're like, people are like shooting at your house and stuff.
exactly. Like this, it means good fortune, damn it.
Right. And the peace sign means peace. It's not a vector, guys. And this isn't
Oh,
666. When Trump does the 666, he just means A-OK, trust the plan. Alice's plan.
the plan, the plan to bring down the family unit and
Yeah.
to usher in the world order and the Antichrist.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Misty, thank you so much for coming on Let's Be Friends and crushing everybody's idols and exposing the secrets. This has been so much fun. This has been like a 3-hour conversation that I could
Oh
keep
my gosh.
going if I didn't have to
I
go to another
know.
conversation soon with someone else. It's gonna be a hard conversation to top. And anybody who's at this point, God bless you. Like, that's amazing. Because this is the whole point here, is don't cling on to anything we're saying. Just listen and be fluid and learn and expand and make decisions for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better.
I love you, girl. Thank you so
I
much.
love
And
you.
anybody wants to find her online, she is I am Misty K. And I'm gonna have all the information for you on here. All right. I love you.
All right. Love you too. Thank you.